is good evening. Good evening, wherever you're following us. This is Africa 24 political discussion. Of course, we are here with one of the best political analysts we have in the country, East Africa, and also in the country of 254. So we welcome you wherever you are tuning so that you can talk about politics, so that you can discuss more about politics, so that you can enlighten our followers, we can enlighten Kenyans on what is happening in terms of politics, and also try to smoothen this country governance, because we know a lot of things are happening, a lot of issues are being raised by the Kenyans, a lot of concerns are being raised by Kenyans when it comes to the KK government. So I welcome you wherever you're joining us. This is Africa 24. Make sure you follow us in all social media platforms. Subscribe to Africa 24. Follow us in all social media platforms, and we'll be happy to have you here. Make sure you join this conversation through the link that I've shared there, and we will be happy to also invite you to the studio. Share with the other Kenyans your ideas, your views about what is happening when it comes to the governance of this country. Now, some of the top stories that we heard today is the reshuffling of the cabinet. How many times is the Kenya Kwanza government is going to reshuffle the cabinet? That is the question that we're asking. Also, we are having issues being raised. Why do you have this reshuffling? We saw CS Muturi, he was fired today, and of course, he was replaced immediately. What does this tell us? It tells us that anything can happen in this country when it comes to the politics. And we are going to discuss some of the issues that are being raised by Kenyans, because we are seeing a lot of things happening anytime change of leadership positions, which is something which is, of course, contributing to leaders also being neglected, because someone will see this as a passing time, like you is just there, next time you will be demoted or you'll be given another chance, because Deborah Barasa was given the cabinet secretary for health just the other day. Today, she has also been transferred to the forest. We have the new CS for health, that is Aden Duale. Also, we have the IEBC. After Chebukati, now we are looking forward to getting another IEBC chairman or chairwoman. I have Chris here. Chris is one of ours. Of course, he has been long, and I want him to tell us where he has been. Long time we have not seen him, and then he give us his overview about the current situation of this country. What he thinks this country is doing. Is the country going in the right direction, or we are going in the wrong direction? Karibu sana Chris, na utuchambulie siasa kwanza, utuambie ukoaje na mambo ipepe.
Thank you Bonnie. Nimeshukuru sana, it has been a while. I missed you guys. Of course, Africa is the place to be. It has been quite some time. Lakini Bonnie, ukiona mtu amepotea sana akirudi, jua kuna mazuri mengi.
Alafu mazuri ni mengi.
Because in Kenya, especially in the political arena, everything changes every time, has a different story, and now we can see the neglect in the Mount Kenya region, the reshuffle of the cabinet ministers. We have seen Barasa being reinstated to forestry. Many things are unfolding, and that speaks a lot about what we intend to see, especially as we approach the 2027 election.
Now, Chris, we are having today, the major thing that happened today is the reshuffling of the cabinet. Tell us what you think. Is President confused, or he is just being given names of people who are incompetent? After what we saw today, the other day we saw reshuffling, today we saw reshuffling, the other day we saw reshuffling of the permanent secretaries. What is really happening? What is your take about this? How do you weigh it?
It's a very confusing situation, especially for a government that promised a lot for the people of this country. At times, it's very disappointing to see a government that promised people affordable health care, keeping on reshuffling cabinet secretary to fit in interests that at the end of the day happen to puncture more the common mwananchi. A government that promised a lot about the affordable housing projects, a government that its manifesto was full of promises. And we can see clearly that it's a government, it's a regime that is struggling to deliver even the smallest of their promises. And what I can tell you, Bonnie, is you can compare this government to a team that is not well stable, and the coach is really trying to fit in different players at different positions, at least to make sure or to attain a certain result. But you can see this team has a lot of problems because there is incompetence in the appointment of the cabinet secretaries. Because there is loyalty. We have seen loyalty playing a very critical role in this reshuffle, because you have seen Barre Duale being taken to defense and then to environment and now to health. That speaks a lot. And then you can see the reshuffle of the cabinet secretaries who are being endorsed by the broad-based faction of the Baba entourage. We can see a government that is desperate to fit in everybody so that it can be politically relevant in a way. And we have seen a reshuffle in a government that doesn't need questions, especially the question regarding the killing of young people, the abductions of young people. That's why you have seen today CS Muturi has been sacked because of raising questions and questioning the government. But Bonnie, you can as well remember one time we said in this forum that it's William Ruto who once said that the only way to be legitimate in this government is to criticize the same government you are in. But the problem with this William Ruto is he doesn't want to be criticized. But during his tenure as the VP, as the deputy president, he used to criticize Uhuru Kenyatta's regime, yet he was in the same government. But it's happening in a different shoe, when the shoe is on a different leg, and he now doesn't want criticism. He doesn't want opposition that is opposing whatever he decides. So it's a bad state of affairs, especially for a democratic country, a country that has fought for democracy for all over these years, to start experiencing such, especially at this time.
Yes. Of course, Muturi was sacked, and also we have seen the same way you said loyalty is being rewarded in this situation. Duale has been rotating from one position to the other. He came from defense, forest, environment, now to health. You have seen even Chipukizi, Vincent Mutua, that guy from Mukambani. Now he has been given the deputy director for events in the state house. You know, those are the close friends who were having that support when it comes to the president during 2022. You have seen how it is happening. You have seen how leaders are being given this position. Do you think that the president also needs to listen to what Kenyans are saying? Because personally, I think from today, even that Bere leader who was given that position for PS, public service, I think people are questioning about his credibility.
I've worked with the president before as a foot soldier in an event, especially in the last campaigns. And I can tell you, the only language the president understands is loyalty. There's no any other language that the president understands. That's why you can see somebody like Duale, who has zero knowledge on health. He can be rewarded as a healthy CS so that to protect the interest of the president. You know, you see, at a time when Kenya needed a leader, it's Aden Duale, who was then CS Defense, who ordered the enforcement of the Kenya Defense Forces for the Gen Zs, the young people of this country. Aden Duale has been a foot soldier of William Ruto since the URP formation, when he was the Garissa Township MP. And in my own opinion, is the president feels safe under Aden Duale than any other. And you can see Duale will start protecting the shisha thing. He'll make the shisha maybe work or not work, but he'll do everything to make sure the government is very comfortable with it. And I think the only language that the president understands is loyalty. That's why you can see, unlike Raila Amolo Odinga, who was come into this broad-based government with a lot of technocrats, especially in the latest appointments of the PSS, President William Ruto doesn't reward competency. That's why you saw in his first time he nominated CS Mithika Linturi as agriculture CS, and you saw the outcome. He rewarded Aisha Jumwa, PS Public Service, and you saw the outcome. It's all about loyalty rather than competence, and that's where the rain starts beating us.
Loyalty, but now this loyalty now is giving Kenyans a lot of problems, because you remember even during the time when we had Mithika Linturi, we had a lot of issues when it comes to the agriculture department, a lot of fake fertilizers being circulated in the country. You also had issues when it comes to the Ministry of Health when we had Susanna Kumicha. Does it mean that the president, also the circle that surrounds the president, also they are not also giving him the quality service when it comes to the governance? Because, you know, as a president, you are surrounded by a lot of people who give ideas on how to govern the country. Do you really believe that also the people who are around the president also are leading Kenya to the wrong direction?
Bonnie, it's Mashafeli who said once that show me the people around the leader, and I can tell you the type of a leader he is. I can tell you the president himself has more than 50 advisors, but he's the one who advises the advisors. And you can't advise William Ruto. And the last person to advise William Ruto is CS, who was sacked today. And that's why many people feel that they cannot talk to the king head on. They can't talk exactly what is happening on the ground directly to the president, because they feel like they fear the president. That's one. President William Ruto is feared most than how he is being loved. That makes people around him fear him, so that even if something is wrong on the ground, they cannot dare tell him this is wrong. That's why when the Gen Zs protested in June to demand for the dropping of the finance bill, instead of William Ruto taking bold steps to bring sanity into the system, he took the whip for himself. He sacked all the people who had helped him clinch the seat, the presidency, and then he invited his enemies. He now started working with his enemies, the likes of Raila Amolo Odinga. And that's why we can see, instead of fixing the mess, he used that opportunity to extend his plans and ambition for the 2027 election. The realignment we are seeing today is not all about delivering to the people. It's a realignment that will make sure the president is going to come back stronger in the 2027 general election, Bonnie. I can tell you clearly, the realignment, the broad-based whatever, the bringing in or whatever, and the development tours that he pretends to be visiting different parts of this country, it's not about development. It's about realigning himself for the 2027 general election. That's why, Bonnie, I'm telling you, as Kenyans, we should never expect anything good from this government as it is now, because it's a government that is full of pride and pomposity, arrogance at its top level. The killing of Gen Z, the abductions are top-notch. In fact, the only thing that we should expect from this government is more reshuffle and more sackings in the coming days as we enter into 2027 general election.
We are doing reshuffling until when? You know, you are saying we will expect another reshuffling, and we know that we are in 2025. We have 2026 now to. Of course, we are close to 2027. So we are going to have this reshuffling for the first term.
Yes, definitely, because there is going to be mass walkout from the government, because people feel the government is illegitimate. It's doing the wrong thing. It's not ready to accept the mistakes. In fact, it's a government that has decided to go head on with the people instead of listening to the people. That's why you can see there's been a gamble in the Mount Kenya region, whereby the president invited all Mount Kenya members of parliament to State House to strategize on how he'll visit the mountain in the coming weeks. But the ground is slippery. He had to rethink about it. That's why you can see the sacking of budget committee chair Ndindi Nyoro, a person, a spanner boy for the president who helped him clinch the top seat. But you can see the outcome is different. Many people, especially from the mountain, are going to walk out of this government because the ground is slippery and the people are not going to listen to lies anymore. So the president has to re-strategize. And this one first strategy is to force masses and to force people to attend his meetings in the region, which will be slippery in the coming weeks. So he has to force, the only thing he has is to look for ways to fix chair IEBC and then force the chair to declare him as the president 2027. But remember, the first people who are going to be accountable for this election are the young people, the Gen Zs who will be at the ballot station tallying votes. These are the young people, and it will make it hard for William Ruto to steal votes. That's why you will see a dictatorship coming in.
Yes, Gen Z are going to Gen Z are going to determine 2027 general elections, of course. But do you think with this kind of the issues that we are seeing, of course, the cabinet reshuffling that we have been seeing, the permanent secretary is being reshuffled, and also Kenyans complaining about the Kenya Kwanza governance when it came to power in 2022. Do you think that even Kenyans are going to re-elect the president also for the next 5 years? Because you heard him saying that they are going to make a change in this country. They are going to make Kenya move ahead for the next 5 years. So it means that he has a lot of trust that 2027 is going to clinch 2027 general elections. Are Kenyans also going to cast their votes for William Ruto in 2027?
William Ruto is not going to get any vote, and is going to use all the crooked means to remain in power, which will not work. In fact, we'll bring in somebody, especially from the region I come from. The song that is being sung every day, everywhere, is none other than Fred Okengo Matiang'i. Fred Okengo Matiang'i, who was sent all the state house back to the drawing board, wanting the presidency. The first people who will go to the voting, to the ballot to vote, are the students who did exams in the era of Fred Okengo Matiang'i, and they are the first people who will vote for the presidency of Fred Okengo Matiang'i. Because for the first time, Kenyans are opening up their eyes and they are saying that we don't want politicians in this presidency. We need a leader who is accountable. In fact, it is not the first time we are not knowing William Ruto. We are not just new in Jerusalem. We just proved that he's a pathological liar. He has been lying since the YK 92, and this is the last chance he was given by the Kenyans, and they have seen it. It is now clear that William Ruto is the liar that we have never seen in this country.
You see, William Ruto is the liar that we have not seen in this country. I have my good friend here, Giovanni. Giovanni, karibu sana. Now, Giovanni, we have seen today what happened. Reshuffling of the cabinet secretaries happened today. CS Muturi was fired. The other day we saw reshuffling of the permanent secretaries also. The other day we saw the reshuffling of the cabinet. It has been a norm in this country since the Kenya Kwanza government took over the leadership in 2022. What is your take about this reshuffling? Does it mean that president is being surrounded by people who does not know what they are doing? Because these are decisions that you cannot make on your own. You have to consider some people who are close to you. Does it mean that also the president also is getting confused on who is going to choose when it comes to these top positions like being a cabinet secretary? Bearing in mind some of the ministries that we have in this country are very sensitive, like the Ministry of Education, Health, and also ministries that really consider human survival. Does it mean that the president is confused? What is your take about today's actions? And a duality to the cabinet to be the cabinet secretary for the Ministry of Health?
Bonnie, how are you?
Good.
It's been long. Where did you go to?
Nakuanga. Show wewe na ndio kujangi kwa show.
Kuna we have been around na kina Leo na nani, and the show has not been around. How many times have I entered the studio and you have not been around? Nasema inapata tu giza.
Inakuanga imeisha.
Hapana. You know, funnily, politics, it should be played by politicians. We read too much into politics, but it is the way it is. There's nothing much. There are no intrigues. There are no hidden cards. It's just the way it is. The way it is, that the way it is. Muturi was not in the proper cards and in the proper relationship with his boss. He had to go. How he had to go, it was a matter of time, decided by the appointing powers. I don't read much into Muturi. What I just read about, what I can read through the lines is Muturi understood early on that he had no say within the concept of Kenya Kwanza government, and by extension, any growth and there's nothing that is going to come out of UDA. That is one. Two, there is nothing that is not going to is going to gain from UDA. So he decided to play his cards and decided to go away and move away. He decided he knew that he had already broken ranks with Ruto. So there was nothing that he's going to do or say that is going to cross ranks between him and Ruto early on, even before he was before he was appointed the CS. I think back then when he was just the AG, he realized that Ruto had just appointed him to be there just as a proxy, nothing more, with no powers. He was just he should have been just a yes man. And then he looked forward and he realized that anytime, any day, it could be a casualty. So when he was retained back as a CS, the things that he thought, the thing that he presumed to be true actually became the truth, because by extent now, that is when he realized he had even lesser powers than when he was the AG. He was just there as just a proxy, or someone just as a stooge to be, or just like a pawn to be used and expended. So what he decided to do is to make a name for himself. The politicians are like cockroaches, my brother. They know how to survive. And they that is their game. People like Muturi have been in this game. He has been the MP of Embu for, I think, for more than close to 15 years or 20 years before he was appointed to be the speaker. Hello?
Yes, loud and clear. Yes.
And even after the speaker, he reigned in the speaker position for 10 years with no opposition. And he was one of the most lackluster speakers we've ever had in our nation for a very long time. I remember even back in the times of Kinamoi, one Kaparo was more energetic, more appealing, and he was living. He was a speaker at the time when we had a one-party system. You could see that the man, in as much as he was getting orders from the president, he had also his own mind. He was able to balance all those dynamics. But come to Muturi, he was just there. The man, even when he speaks, he does not exude confidence. He is, I won't say he's a dimwit, but I'll say he's a lackluster, lackadaisical. All those mild names you can apportion to a person, you should apportion them to Bendan Muturi. I have no love lost to Muturi. He is doing a good job for us when he is attacking Ruto, because any attack on Ruto is a plus for us, the people who are on the ground. However, when he realized that he is going to be a casualty, because nobody was going to appoint him to a CS position come 2027. Nobody was going to appoint him to be an MP or even any strong position within the government, or even a governor, or even an MP, or even a senator. Even in Embu, he was going to be a foregone conclusion. He saw it far, and he realized that, why don't I use this position of my son being adopted and make a name for myself? He is a bright man, but as I spoke to you and as I told you, he is a cockroach. Most of these people are cockroaches, Those politicians, they are cockroaches. They just know how to survive. They survive today, they survive tomorrow, with or without water, they will survive. How many politicians do you think by the time we are hitting 2027 will have already washed themselves anew, and they'll be having new tags and being the redeemer of our nation? Just wait and see. You'll see many of them. Muturi is just one among many. So for me, I can only say that between him and Ruto, it was just a matter of chess movement, pawns movement, pieces. Everyone was moving up his piece at a time. And Ruto realized the father is going to play this game. It is not playing to his benefit. It is playing. It is playing to his own doom. So he decided, just like Machiavelli once said, that whenever you postpone a fight, you postpone it to your own disadvantage. Ruto is also a schemer, just like Muturi. Muturi is a very wily schemer. Every time he just knows how to survive. And I'm telling you, come 2027, he'll still be in government, or he'll be in parliament, or he'll be the governor of Embu. Just watch properly, watch step by step how this guy is doing, how he is moving. Because as of now, Barire is a very unpopular leader within Embu. Any person right now who stands his worth is able to remove that woman by saa tatu asubuhi. So Muturi knows all those dynamics and he is playing them accordingly, just like a chess master. The guy is a total cockroach. So for me, I'm not reading too much. This was an eventuality. It was bound to happen. Both of them were playing cards. Both of them were just playing to the gallery. There is nothing good. Muturi is not genuine. Ruto, neither is Ruto. So for us, we shouldn't even be talking about Muturi. We should be talking about other things, because Muturi is, for me, is a non-starter. He will never. By far, maybe it might take us from point A to point A. Thank you.
Yes, Muturi now has been sacked by the president. We don't have Muturi now is at home, together with other members now being displaced to other positions, the likes of Aden Duale. Duale has been given one of the sensitive ministries that we have in this country. He has been given the Minister of Health. Minister of Health is very sensitive. Deborah Barasa was there. We had Susan Nakumicha. From Susan Nakumicha, we had Deborah Mulongo Baraza. From Baraza, we have Aden Duale. This reshuffling, do you think Giovanni, President reshuffling these ministries, of course, is a sign of failure? Is it a sign of failure?
I think you should refrain that question, and it should ask, is it a failure on the part of us Kenyans? It's not a failure of Ruto. But I believe that we should not entirely apportion blame to just Ruto. We should apportion blame to all of us as a nation. Have we failed? Have we failed as a nation? Because it has to start with how with our mental faculties, our mental acuity. Are we that dim? Are we that stupid? Are we cast as a nation? Because how come we keep bringing back corrupt leaders? I was watching a clip by Ruto where he was saying that makosa, nyinyi mnasema mko na makosa na Wakikuyu. Nyinyi hamuna makosa mingi na Wakikuyu kama sisi wa Kalenjin, lakini makosa tuwezi tatua. Kwanza lazima tuchukue usukani na uchukue serikali, ndio wakati ule umechukua serikali ndio utakuwa na. That clip was going around all those 5 years when Ruto declared he's going to run for president in all the constituencies of Kenya, where every Kikuyu was able to see that clip. And this is what the Bible talks about, small things and big things. It says that whoever who is faithful in little is able is faithful in much. So one thing I can tell you for surety is Can you give me a minute just to finish up something with
yes,
mtoto hapa?
Yes, no problem Giovanni. We have mzalendo karibu sana bwana. Umeacha kuendesha magari. Sasa uko ndani ya bonge la show. Umeona what happened today? Cabinet reshuffling. What do you have to say about this? Is it a sign of failure as Kenyans or as the government? What do you have to say? Government failed or Kenyans failed during 2022 general election? Or the people who are surrounding the president are the one who are advising him in the wrong way?
Thank you, Bonnie, and a good evening to our viewers wherever they are. One thing I want to tell you is that the Kenyan political system is something that needs to be discussed. People don't understand what is happening, and they think it is just by choice. But the system that William Ruto is doing is what has been done since independence. To me, I call it the patronage system, where the president calls the shots. Now, in this kind of system, historically, you will see the president firing somebody from a particular community that he doesn't like, then gives the job to the same community. That is what happened to Muturi. Muturi has been a member of parliament in Mbere, and the person who has replaced him is his member of parliament in that capacity. So the cabinet CS is now more senior than Muturi, and was an MP in that particular area. So this is what will happen. So the president technically has divided that community politically, meaning that those who are aligned to Muturi will be supporting Muturi's agenda against William Ruto, and those who are for the new CS will also be aligning to his agenda. That is what is called patronage politics. Now, what does it do to democracy? It kills the spirit of democracy. It kills it completely. And what is happening in Kenya today is the broad-based scam, where we have the minority coming in government and the majority joining hands in government. It kills the spirit of multi-party democracy. The minority should be checking on the government, but for William Ruto's reshuffle, it is what we have been saying on the social platform. It is the awareness that we have been creating about SHA and the noise that we have been making about the inefficiency and the incompetence of government. That is the reason why these reshuffles are happening. So Kenyans, let us not get tired. Whatever is happening is for the good cause of the country. It is for efficiency, is some of it, but largely it is to manage the politics of certain areas, especially the area of Mount Kenya. So we will be witnessing a lot of this, reshuffles. And I joked today that I will not be surprised, and I've been saying it time and again, that William Ruto might forget and even appoint Rigathi Gachagua into his cabinet. That can easily happen in the near future. So the patronage politics is to diffuse and try to get the ethnic backing of particular communities. So our politics is still deeply rooted in ethnicity. So what the president is doing is balancing the ethnic conflict in our politics and managing it in the best way that he knows. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Zalendo is trying to say that president is dividing those areas in the right way so that anyone who is supporting Muturi will support Muturi. Now the new member also, they will support the new member. Jovan, do you agree that what Mzalendo is saying, that now that area has been divided politically?
I disagree. I disagree. Hello?
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Continue.
Yeah.
Why do you disagree?
Why I'm disagreeing? Why I'm disagreeing, and Mzalendo knows. Kikuyus, and in particular, no, Mount Kenyan in particular, the tribes around the Mount Kenya region, basically they usually align themselves within one entity and behind one force. They vote as a block, they disinvoke as a block. So that's the same thing that happens in it also plays out in Kikuyu. We only have two regions, let's say like 3 regions, who usually vote en bloc, and that's the Nyanza, the Mount Kenya, and Rift Valley. But Rift Valley sometimes is broken, but let's say the Kalenjin, we call them the Kalenjin, because Rift Valley there's a lot of other tribes, in particular the Kikuyus are there, the Luyas are there. So why I'm disagreeing is because it's just some few months ago, or maybe some weeks ago, when, if you recall, there was a problem. That was in Embu. Okay, I know Embu is also divided into 2 constituencies. Majorly, there is 3. There is Runyenje, so there is the upper Embu and there is the lower Embu. The lower Embu is the Mbere. Dedan comes from the little known Beres, but also Beres identify with themselves with Embu. So unless you become so strong, there is a strong, like what you can say, Babu Owino is strong in the Luo. He may be strong, but also there is that element of Babas. So in as much as he also wants to stand out as his own man, there is an extent that he cannot be able to become. So unless you become, but he has performed, unless you become a very good performer within your people, and that cannot happen as a one-timer MP. That has to happen if you are consistent, you've been like 20 years and you've been a performer. People can stand back and say no. But also, if you remember Mzalendo and Boni, there are people like Kamodo. Kamodo did so much for Madioya. They did exemplarily, but when it came to voting, they were voted out within huge differences. So what I can say, why nakatana nayo Mzalendo is, your viewpoint might appear like it is so, but it is not going to shake the mountain. The Embus now, Kenyans by extent, even the Kalenjins, they don't want Ruto. So it's not about Kikuyu. Now, by extent, within the Kikuyu, it's not about the Mount Kenya, it's not about the Kikuyu. It's about what is happening on the ground. If Ruto was popular on the ground, that could be not only even about that Roko guy, But I'm telling you, even the vice president himself, I don't think he is popular. If uchaguzi inaweza itwa sahi, as of now, I don't think anaweza pata less than anaweza pata more than 30%, even from his own place ile ametoka Tharaka Nithi. He is from Tharaka Nithi, si ndio?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, in the Mount Kenya region, there isn't much you can say. There isn't much you can talk about and say that this is going to happen, and that is not going to happen. It's a gone conclusion. We have already hao watu waligura kitambo, waligura wote na wakabakisha, I think ni mifupa tu. So whatever Ruto is doing, he's just doing to appear to look like he's okay, and then diaweze kupata tukura kidogo pale. He is not stupid. He knows if he can be able to muscle himself up and get maybe like 1 million within the Mount Kenya region, just like what Baba got, and then aanze kupiga hesabu za Wajaluo. I know Luos, kupiga hesabu na Waluos, it's a tricky venture, because these are people who can be with you today, tomorrow wanagura wote asubuhi, you know. They are not like Kikuyus are consistent. They can stand with you until the end. Luos, my friend, they are always with you up to a certain moment. Wakiamuka tu asubuhi and they decide, my friend, they are moving out. They'll move out, hata wana move mpaka na makuku na makondo. So for me, it's just a matter of time before something else happens.
Yes, it's a matter of time before something else happens. Now, I was also following what Amzalani, you want to add something on what Giovanni said, because he disagreed with what you said.
I think he quite missed what I was saying, and he missed the point by a mile. Where I only agree with you is that, yes, the Kikuyus have moved on, but I can tell you what William Ruto is looking for is just what you have mentioned lastly there, is that he is looking for part of the votes in Mount Kenya. He knows quite well as a politician that the mountain has moved. He's not looking for the votes he got last time. He's looking to get votes slightly more than what Raila Odinga got in Central Province. And that is the reason why he has retained the MPs from Central Province. Otherwise, he would have as well sacked them all, because he was not going to get anything from there. So he has retained them, and he has also a sizable support from Mbere and the larger Meru community. So for him, it is a fishing expedition. So when you're on a fishing expedition, you don't know what you're going to catch. Until you catch the big fish is what you know you are taking home. So William Ruto, just as I told you, this is patronage politics. This is something that started way back in the 60s when we got independence. Kenyatta used to deal with these people like that. Moi did the same. He would sack somebody from Central and replace them from the same region. And at even times, he even replaced somebody with his own brother. So that is how you divide the votes. But the whole essence is you want to get a sizable amount of votes for you to become the president of the Republic of Kenya. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yes, yes. We having a new CS in the town. Now, Giovanni, do you think that even the people surround president also are confused? Those who give ideas, who advise the president?
No, the president. Let me just jump in there. The president has got advisors, but the president advises his advisors. So the president is the chief advisor. He has got advisors, but I think Ruto is one person that I cannot point out at somebody who is in his cabinet who is advising him. I think he's one of these leaders who knows almost everything. And he tells you from his speeches that, I've been in government for over 25 years. I know every aspect of running a government. I know each and every ministry. I know what you're supposed to do. And remember, most of these people coming in as CSs into his government, some of them have got no experience at all. Apart from Adan Duale, who has been there for quite some time, most of the people running Ruto's cabinet, he has been there longer than them. People like John Mbadi, I mean, he's coming in, but Ruto has been in cabinet, has been in government more than he has been there. And he has served in a cabinet position many times in Moi's government, in Kibaki's government, and now he's the president of the Republic of Kenya. So he has got some experience on his sleeves. Yeah.
Yes, Mzalendo is saying that President cannot lead. Yes.
Bwana Mzalendo and Bonnie, the problem basically does not is I have always said the problem, and I keep reiterating this again and again. The problem basically does not lie with the president or with our leadership. The problem lies with us. We condone nonsense. We elect inefficiency, incompetence, and we see it as a way of life. And we never question anything, and we always just go back. Enda tu Geshagi nyumbani kidogo over the weekend. There's something you're going to realize within the people who are around there. They worship those people who have money. We don't worship those people who have ethos, or we worship those people who are corrupt, who have money. We don't even question where they got their wealth from. And the moment we start seeing someone else has got money, we start apportioning glory and honor to that kind of a person. So Ruto, by extent, is just a reflection of our own indeficiencies as a nation. It is so clearly seen. Because even when he appoints people, we don't question those kind of people. Look at the kind of people that Ruto appoints, and when they go to the parliament, when they are being vetted, what do they even get vetted from? And basically, when you look at all these, it's just full of shenaniganism, and I don't know. I sometimes I'm hopeless. There's nothing like feeling hopeless and helpless. And when you talk, that's why most of the things I see, even on our platform, even on our group, we start throwing stones at one another. We start talking badly about one another. I am more close to Mzalendo than Mzalendo is close to Raila. Before Mzalendo gets sick, I'll know Mzalendo is sick. Before even gets help, I'll be there to give him my kind of help. Leo, Bonnie, Mogo, and the rest. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But what we do, we first and foremost, we need to start washing our own linen. We have so much dirty linen as a nation, as a people. So even before we start seeing the retrogressive politics of Ruto, we need first and foremost, as a people, to we start from our own families. We start creating
creating what we call ethos and integrity. Those are things that we cannot just sum up them in one day. We need to start building it from the inception and from the foundation of our children, of our primary schools, secondary schools, and even to our universities. You know, look at what Babu is doing at Embakasi. Even if I'm not a Luo, I will elect that kind of a person. But when it comes to politics, you'll find that we'll start hating Babu just because he is a Luo. Look at what Dede has been doing at his Kearu place. But the moment we start seeing wrong things about Dede Nyoro, he is corrupt, he is doing this. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm just saying that we malign people before even evaluating whether what they did was right or wrong. And the things that should be true, we negate them. The things that should not be of any substance, we applaud them, we elevate them, we worship them. So these people, look at the Akaka person like standard 80 dropout of Ruto. It's called what? Oscar Sudi. Just imagine Oscar Sudi. I was watching another clip that Oscar Sudi was the guest of honor, and the governor was applauding him. Ameleta mamilioni kadhaa ya pesa. What has this world gotten to? The man just is, I think, is a two-term. Sudi is the second time, or I think the third time is being an MP. He was just a tout the other day. So whatever kind of money and gains he has been able to amass within that scope of time, it has to be stolen, absolutely. But what we do, we applaud those people, we praise them, we worship them. You know. So for me, Ruto is not the problem. We are the problem. And until we change that mentality, that Kemanzi, just because you are a Kamba, the only thing that you see is Kalonzo. You don't even ask, mtu atanifanyia nini? Mzalendo, just because you are Luo, the only thing that you are seeing is Baba. Yeah? And Jeremiah, the other day, I know you said that he doesn't love Baba, but he is also a cocoon, a tribe of bygone. He believes in the Luo ascendancy, you know. And when he talks about the things that the Kikuyus did, the Kikuyus did that. People like us, you should come to our place. You've been to our place. We were at Mogo's place. You saw the road is just how close proximity is it to Nairobi or the CBD? Just some like 30 kilometers, and the road was not done. You know, it doesn't mean that those roads were done wakati wa Kenyatta, but it doesn't mean that wakati wa Moi zilifanywa, wakati wa Kibaki zilifanywa. And every MP right now who anapata CDF, every governor sahi anapata pesa, but what do they do with the money? They eat. And the only thing we see as Luos, Wakikuyu ni waizi. The only thing we see as Kikuyus, Wajaluo ni waizi. Wajaluo wanatuchukia. Kikuyu that, Wajaluo this, Mijikenda that, and of course sahi. Those people don't even go to school. And then wakatule appointments zinaanza kuchaguliwa, wanaanza kusema Wakikuyu ama Wajaluo ndio wako kwa hizo manini za port, and they don't go to school, they don't take their children to school, but wanasema wako marginalized. Who marginalized one? Who marginalized you? They have land, they have mass, they have chunks and chunks of land that they don't irrigate. You know what I'm saying, and I keep saying, is this thing of apportioning blame for our own inefficiency, inadequacies, and ABCD. It should stop. We should start owning up who we are. You know? I rest my case.
Yes, Yes, Giovanni, thank you so much. Of course, I think that we should be proud of who we elect, of course. Make sure if you're joining us here for the first time, this is a Freak 24 political discussion, and we urge you to subscribe to Afrique 24 YouTube channel. If you're following us from other channels, please subscribe to Afrique 24 YouTube channel. That is the source of this conversation, and you will be ready to have this wonderful conversation every day at 10 p.m. East African time. Now we are discussing some of the top stories that we had in this country, and number one is the cabinet reshuffle, whereby CS Muturi has been sacked by the president, and of course now we have a new CS in town after cabinet reshuffle. Justin Muturi is at home now. We have Geoffrey Ruku as the new public service cabinet secretary. And now we are having Kenyans raising concerns about the current situation and why do you think these things are happening in the country? So as you subscribe to Afrique 24, you can join the studio through the link that we have shared there, and you'll be ready to also share your views and ideas with other Kenyans who are following this a great conversation. I have Mzalendo here and Giovanni. Now I want just to ask Mzalendo this question. Mzalendo, after what we are seeing currently, we have an unstable government since 2022. Do you think that Kenyans, after what they are seeing, they will re-elect President William Ruto in 2027?
I mean, the writing is on the wall, and Kenyans, as you've seen lately, they are not happy with the president. They have shown a lot of dissatisfaction with the way Ruto has handled the economy. Ruto has handled the issue of insecurity. Particularly, I think the reason why Ruto is being fought very hard each and every time. Right now, I think the major concern of Kenya should be the issue of insecurity. Insecurity in Kenya is becoming something of a concern. And the person who is on that docket is Kipchumba Murkomen. And I've seen on the daily papers that is performing below par. So issues of insecurity in Kenya is one of the major issues that I can tell you that this William Ruto's government down. Now, there are issues that are so dear to us in this time and moment. Even as William Ruto is doing everything possible to govern, there is one aspect of William Ruto that Kenyans don't like. So the issue of abductions, the issue of missing children has not been addressed by this government adequately. And when I say adequately, it means that we have not seen those thugs who purportedly were abducting these young people, as said by the police that they didn't know who were abducting these people, arrested. So that brings in the question of how safe are we as Kenyans if the police themselves do not know who are abducting and killing the young people. So that is one area that clearly brings this government down. So how is William Ruto going to navigate this? We have got very, very few years left to elections. We have not seen anybody charged, any policeman charged, any thug who was abducting charged. The issue of university funding is also something that the young people are holding so dearly. And now the issue of SHA that we've been talking about on this platform has now come to his doorstep, and he has made a reshuffle and brought in Adan Duale. Hopefully, Adan Duale will streamline that department. So he wants to deal with certain issues that Kenyans have been raising concern about, and one is in the medical sector, bringing in Duale, who is not a medic by profession, but is a worker, is an experienced cabinet secretary and has been in government for quite some time. So he brought in somebody who he thinks is a good manager and can manage that sector in the best way. So we want to see what Duale will do in that particular area. So that is what William Ruto is doing. But largely, if you can look at William Ruto when he came to power, the first 100 days when William Ruto came to power, there was a lot of optimistic view of him being a good leader. But slowly that view has gone down. Now people are no longer optimistic about his government, and anything that he's doing is being rebuked in public. And why is it so? Because one, he has technically killed our constitution, technically killed the spirit of multi-party democracy. The so-called broad-based government is simply killing the spirit of multi-party democracy, something that people fought so hard for. And we repealed the Section 2A of our Constitution in 1992 and brought in multi-party democracy. And the reason why we were bringing multi-party democracy is because of diversity. You should accept when I am differing with you in opinion so that you can learn something from me. And that is what democracy is all about. Democracy does not mean that when I'm differing with you, you kill me. That is now murder. That is now a dictatorship. That is now dictator. That is now leading to anarchy. So this government has decided that anybody who is opposing them, either if they can buy them and to join the government, or if they can use patronage, for them to join the government, then that would be okay. So they use patronage for them to join the government, and they kill the spirit of a multi-party democracy, the minority and the majority in the government. But you would hear, some people with very little knowledge about politics saying that, okay, we don't have an opposition in government, we are all in government. That kind of nonsense comes from the people who are already in government. But when they were not in government, they were critical of the same government. So that is the hypocrisy that we see on the other side. But again, we need a strong opposition. Today, as we speak, Mr. Boni and Giovanni, there is nobody in parliament who can question this government. There is no political party that can question this government. And it is sad, no political party can question the party of Kenya Kwanza. Yeah, they cannot question them because everybody is in government. So when everybody is in government, if any graft is happening in government, they are doing it as a family. They are doing it as a mafia gang that is out there to reap what we taxpayers are paying, and to ensure that the political class maintain their status. So this is what we need to be pushing out there, that the political class is out to maintain the status quo, and you remain the same. If that message can be articulated out clearly, then Kenyans will realize that, your pocket remains the same. Your wallet, if it had 500 shillings as pocket change, it will still have that 500 shillings. If you had a payslip that comes at the end of the day with all this deduction, what you will see at the end of it is not an increment, but a deduction from this government. A government that is taxing its citizens in order to bring in the political class into power is not fit to be in government. Is not fit at all. Yeah, thank you. Oh, Gypsy Corner is saying what? Zalendo. Zalendo, you question Ruto without a PhD, you are gone through the... Oh my God, Gypsy, I think you're so right. I mean, I don't have a PhD, but I've seen PhDs who are as useless as other people without even an education. So having a PhD education does not make you a good leader. Yeah, so leadership is sometimes inborn. Leadership is sometimes you learn it through others. But sometimes leadership, you cannot learn it in class. If you don't have it, you don't have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mzalendo. Thank you, Mzalendo, for giving us your thoughts about William Ruto, saying it's written in the walls. Giovanni, you heard what Mzalendo said, of course, when I asked him about if Kenyans are going to give Ruto second chance in 2027. Don't you see also, there are some people who are saying the president will change by the year 2026. He will be doing everything that Kenyans want so that he can also capture the attention of Kenyans. As we approach the election, then Kenyans will vote for him and he will go for the next 5 years.
You know, Bonnie, I think everybody is just a survivor. So what Ruto is doing is like when he talks about he is a doctor of this, doctor of that. You know, when you're intelligent, you don't talk about it. It is sin. We every time you keep telling people mi nilienda shule, mimi nimesoma, mimi ni daktari, mimi ni nini. Basically, it's like it's an inferiority mindset. Because if you're intelligent enough, you don't even talk about it. There's nothing that moves you or in any way. Even if anybody talks or disparage you in any way, you only know, intelligence is confident. When you meet someone who is intelligent, he is ever confident. When you meet someone, you don't need to tell someone that you are intelligent, you are educated, you are ABCD. You're always confident because the most astounding thing about when you meet an intelligent person is that person will not try to bring the worst out of you. He'll try to bring the best out of you because he understands and he sees in you that you are lacking in something. So you'll try to bring that which you are lacking to a better place. But when you meet someone who, by no intention of mine saying this, every time he brags, I am this, I am that, I went to this, I went to this school. Going to any school, there's a video I sent to the group. There is an educationist who was speaking basically. I think he was an Ugandan. He was saying that when the colonialists came to Africa, they realized that what they needed was workers. So within the context of workers, they decided that they are going to bring a certain curriculum so that they can be able to attain that which they intended to achieve. And within that, they made people who are more like robots. We were supposed to be memory oriented. People who, like, when you're employed in a bank, you are always, the first instruction is you are told that you are not employed to think, you are employed to follow instructions. So that is what the 844 and the system that the colonialists brought, that was its intention, to create people who are dependent upon the system. Have you ever had in Africa people innovate anything? Have you ever had people innovate cars? We have been subjected, and we have been shaped in a way from our education system to think that the only thing that can come, that which is original, it is Western. So that is the mindset. Our mindset, even when ukienda Ocha, our mindset is MP ndiye atatuletea maendeleo. Africa, you never hear people like now. We have many diseases in Africa which are originating in Africa. We don't appropriate monies towards the research and invention of cures or immunization, like malaria, like Ebola and the likes. But we usually look towards the West and wait for them to come up with those malaria kind of immunization and drugs and bring them back to Africa. So our system, basically, it's self-defeating in its own way. We need to have a new reinvention of mindset. We have to rethink how we engage moving forward. Even us, as Africa 24, we have to start re-engaging differently. We have to start re-engaging in a way that we can start thinking coherently and in terms of where are we do what we call self-evaluation. Where have we been? Where are we? And where do we want to be? So as a platform, this is what we have achieved. This is what we have achieved up to this place. This is who we are. How and when do we want to be, and what do we want to achieve within the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years? By the time election is coming into place, how and what kind of themes are we projecting? And mzalendo, sijui kama umeangalia, but any civic education, it is not originally from our government. It is foreign. People out there, the Western, the Wazungus, the Chinese, they are funding programs to educate us in the aspect of civilization. That's it. You know, how we think, how we engage. Our NGOs all of them are funded, not locally, not by our business people. They are funded by interest out there, and you expect Africa to change. It will never change. So we need to have a realization, a rethinking. We have to, like how we we speak and we engage in our politics, even in this platform, whenever we have an agenda, how are we engaging? How are we still talking about the things we spoke last year, last month, or have we engaged in every person who comes in a different kind of a scenario and understanding? Are we able to tell him, no, hiyo by the way hapo tulivuka, sahi sisi kama hii platform tunaji-engage na this and this and this, even in our own way, even in our own small way. I am always seeing that we are always repeating ourselves. We are always consistently repeating the things that we spoke last month. We are speaking about them this time around. Are we growing as a platform? As I spoke earlier, we need to change ourselves before we change others.
Yes, we need to change ourselves before we change others. That is what Giovanni is saying. Otherwise, we need to change ourselves before we change others. Make sure if you are joining us here for the first time, you subscribe to Africa 24. This is your #1 political show that happens here every day at 10 p.m. East African time, and also we are discussing about the current situation in this country when it comes to the politics, and also when it comes to the situation on what is happening. Now, we have seen members being brought back to the country. When it comes to the reshuffling, we saw Susanna Kumicha, a lot of leaders also be brought back. Is it loyalty or is it serving Kenyans? Mzalendo, loyalty or serving Kenyans? Now Kumicha is back. We have seen Ababu Namwamba still is back as a bus center. Loyalty or serving Kenyans?
I told you about patronage politics in Kenya. It is distributing of public positions. Those are the jobs that are meant for the public. Those ones you are seeing. Apart from the jobs, it is also the distribution of tenders and developments in other regions. That is why you are seeing the Luo community in Nyanza are saying, oh, now we are in government, now we are getting development and all that. That is what is called patronage politics. It is how it manages its politics. Now, that is what makes leaders remain in power. And it provides the ethnic identity of those projects that are associated with this leader to that community. So ethnicity is a currency that can be sold to the president. I am coming with 3 million votes. I am coming with 2 million votes. What do we have? What do you have for us? That is what Gachagua was selling. It is still patronage politics. It is still patronage politics. It is the currency that is selling. It is what my community is worth. It is what Raila Odinga is selling. It is the mediocrity in our politics in the name of broad-based government or national unity. They are selling the ethnic currency, and the president is buying this ethnic currency from the communities. Understand this very well. Is buying the ethnic currency from the community. The Luo community is coming with so much votes. That is an ethnic currency. The Somali community is coming with this much. That is an ethnic currency and an ethnic entity. Do they add any value? Yes, to the stability of the government, yes. To the patronage of William Ruto's legacy and his idea of being the president in 2027 and possibly beyond, yes. So that is something that has been happening in our politics time and again. But a few people realize how it affects development. And some of us know very well that electing a good president will enable him use the constitution properly without using the ethnic currency, meaning among the 42 tribes, everything will be distributed equally. Now, the smallest tribe, probably the Borana or the Kaumas down in the coast, they don't have a currency. They don't have that ethnic currency like the Kisii community or the Luo community or the Kikuyu community or the Kamba community. So they don't have that bargaining power. So how do they feel represented in this government? This government is patronage. The larger communities in Kenya is well represented in this government, but the smaller communities in Kenya is not represented at all. Thank you.
Hey, Giovanni, you have to respond to what Mzalendo said. Mzalendo is giving us some good terminologies here when it comes to the politics of this country.
You know, Mzalendo is a politician. Did he tell you that?
He has never vied. Hajaitisha kura sasa tujampatia.
Apana, he wants vied. Once a politician, always a politician.
I want to tell you that I'm the only politician who can predict his failure and not go all the way, because I know I'm going to lose. And I can also predict when somebody is going to win. I predicted Ruto's win. I can predict my own failures. I can tell you affirmatively that in the next election that is coming, I'm going to win. And mark my words, if I go to the ballot, I'll win. And I know what to do. It's a learning process. It's a learning. Politics is a learning process. But when you fall down, when you don't win, what do you do with the loss? That is the most important thing. What do you do with the loss? Exactly.
Expect my support.
And
expect
I know,
my
Giovanni, you have been with you all along. You have been with you all along. So it's not hata sio tafadhali.
Huko tutavuruga. Huko tutavuruga. Yani expect my support.
Ndio nakwambia Giovanni, when sometimes somebody wins, you've seen people winning, they wanted leadership so much. Then they win, they don't know what to do with the leadership.
True.
Yeah. So sometimes you can be given power, but you don't know what to do with it. So the person who you beat probably look at what Raila is doing. Now today, Raila is seen as somebody who is going to be given credit when Ruto's government succeeds. It's not Ruto, it's Raila Odinga. You understand that if Ruto fails today, the person who is going to be discredited is one Raila Odinga for coming into his government. The person who is going to be credited for Ruto's success in governance is Raila Odinga.
Actually, the first statement you are right, but the second statement you are wrong.
Which one?
The second one. The first statement, if Ruto fails, they will apportion blame to Raila. But
no,
if
they will apportion blame to Ruto. Sorry.
Yes. No. I'm saying if Ruto wins, if Ruto fails, they will apportion blame to Raila. He came to government, yeye ndiye ametujuga, tungekaa na Wakikuyu, tungechaguliwa, tungefanya IEBC. I'm telling you, because he has never won, hakuna vile angetusukuma tukuje to win. If he wins, they will give glory kwa Ruto kusema he is a master tactician, master politician, the professor of politics. Remember wakati wa Moi?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I don't think
so.
Let
me now tell you something. Mzalendo, let me now tell you something. Yes. Historically, they usually say that everything falls and everything rises and falls with the leadership. If you are a leader, if anything bad happens, even in your own home as a husband, anything happens, they will always apportion blame to the husband and to the father. Baba alikuwa mlevi, baba alienda kaoa, baba alitutupa, baba alifanya, baba ilikuwa. But if hiyo nyumba inasimama, baba usaulika. True or wrong?
Very true.
Yes. So what I'm saying,
ni mama ndiye anasimamisha nyumba.
Baba ndiye anasimamisha. What basically happens, the father basically is an anchor. We are just an anchor to our children and to our wives. Ndio utapata saa zingine kama we kama baba ukujipanga vizuri and you apportion you appropriate every coin and every coin to the well-being of your family, your children, your wife, mende zile zote ziko kwa hiyo nyumba. And then unafika miaka ingine unakuwa hauna mbele wala nyuma. The children basically hawatakangi mizigo, watakuja wachukue mama waende wakae naye US. We baba unabaki Geshagi peke yako. You're left there. And it's not one man. There are many men who have been done like that. By virtue of kutojipanga. The essence, and I keep even telling my children, I'll be your support even in your old age. You'll always be coming back to my home and my house. Na mukitisha usaidizi. Hey daddy, tunataka $2,000,000. Daddy, yes, in my old age, brother. Because that's what the Bible tells us. At bado ndani ya uzee wako, you'll be able to watch a legacy, not only to your children, but even to your children's children. What does that tell you? That wewe bado ndio utakuwa unasimamisha watoto wako, na watoto watakuwa wamesimama na wasimamishe familia yao just because of you.
Now,
So,
let me just correct you before you go very far.
Thank you.
Baba ni mlevi.
Yes.
Mlevi kabisa, mlevi wa kupindukia. Angalii majukumu zake. Anapata bibi, ule anakuja kwa maisha yake. Make sure watoto wameenda shule, wameenda nini, wameenda wakasoma.
True.
Nani amesimamisha hiyo familia?
Of course, huyo mama ndiye amekuwa responsible na kusomesha hiyo nyumba.
So ndio nakwambia hii mambo ya jukumu, sometimes it can be the husband, sometimes it can be the wife. It is not the other way around. As in the Bible,
you are talking like an American.
I know you refer to the Bible a million times. That the man is the head of the household. That one is there. But
no.
Man in his responsibility as the head of the family.
You are reasoning as an American.
No, not.
Yes, reasoning like an American.
I am a Kenyan, boss. I am not.
No, you are not.
I am a Kenyan.
No, you are not. You are not Kenyan.
I am telling you, these are facts. These are facts, and you know it. You know it. You know it even in your own family. I don't even have to go far. You know it even in even in mine. I know there are cases I can tell you that the woman came in. Yeah, there are cases. The woman came in. There are cases. Yeah, but does not say that it does not say that the men are also doing poorly. They are also playing their role. They are also playing their role as the head of the family. But some of them are lost in the way. And maybe the only person who brings them back is that particular woman.
Bonnie.
Yeah.
Mzalendo is taking my time. I was the person who was
Yes, continue. He interrupted you, I'm sure.
Yes. And it appears it was his turn, but it wasn't. I should be the person who is engaging him, but now he's the one who is engaging me. Mzalendo. The thing is this. What you have said is there are cases, but the truth of the matter is, in a majority, even where I come from, it's a village. I agree that there are cases where men are irresponsible, where women take over. But in the majority of homes, it's the fathers who go out of their way. I can, like from our place, I can start from the end place, nikikuja hivi. If I have to look for a man ambaye bibi yake ndiye anashikilia, it may be 1 out of 10. But just because I may go out of his way, people tend to think that it is the norm, that ati ni mabibi wanashughulikianga, but it is not. I agree that there are certain kind of cases like that. But the truth of the matter is, men suffer so that their family, their children, their wives, their home waweze kusimama, waweze kusoma. Like I remember when I was bringing up my young family, hata viatu. And I remember also back even hata sahi, mimi when I get my finances, I usually ask wife, kuna issue gani na gani unahitaji? I appropriate finances towards everything ambayo inahusu watoto, school fees, nini. And sometimes it inamaliza hata mwaka bila hata kujinunulia tanguo. And it's not mine, it's not on myself alone. It's true. I know Mzalendo. You remember back then, you remember Mzalendo, you bear witness to those
things. You know, you've just reminded me, if I go to my closet today, Giovanni, I can tell you the number of shirts that I have as a Pititano. The ones that I wear on a daily basis are probably 3. And are
you being called from Geshagi, your cousin, your grandmother, your cousins and your grandmother and your sisters and ABCD, they want help from you. And you say,
like right now after this, I'm going to work specifically for somebody who I support so that I can pay for them school fees back in Kenya. Yeah, ameniambia, hey, naenda shule kesho. I need it so much by tomorrow. Hauna hiyo pesa, but you have to go to work for them, not for you. For them. For them. Waende shule amalize ndio aweze kujisaidia. So one aspect that Giovanni you must appreciate is that when we had time kung'ara, kuvaa vizuri, to look good, when we did it. We did it, but we didn't have responsibility then. You didn't have the responsibility that you have today. The responsibility that you have today does not give you that luxury of putting on a nice look, a nice watch. Although we want to look good once in a while, but you don't have that luxury anymore, like we used to have so many years back. So things have changed, and as you grow older, then it comes with more responsibility. Now, where we are heading is where we are going to have now the health crisis, because as we are growing older, your organs will not be as functioning as the way they used to be. Now there's old age kicking in. You will not have the visual capacity you had when you are a teenager. You will not have the agility that you had when you are 18 or 20 years or 30 years. You will not have it anymore. So what we are doing now is to invest on our future. How comfortable are you going to be when you retire? Are you still going to be this old man who cannot move from point A to B, who cannot have his own health care, who still depends on the children to provide for him? So that is where we are moving next. That is where we are. Okay, personally, that is where I am at the moment. Is that you plan for your retirement? Your retirement, and are you going to enjoy? No, you must start planning now. Are you going to enjoy your retirement?
Yes.
Yeah, you must enjoy your
that retirement. Goes without saying. I agree.
We can't struggle.
You need to start
forever.
Planning now.
Yeah, we can't struggle forever. Alafu tukifika 70, 75 ndio unaanza kuangalia, ningefanya hii, ningeenda. Sasa ndio wakati.
True. This is time kujipanga. Ngoja
Yeah,
when you are 70 years ndio unaanza kujipanga maisha yako ya 80s and the 90s.
yeah. Gypsy
Even
Corner
in the
is saying,
70s.
Gypsy Corner is saying, Zalendo, those days of shining is gone. You can only do it now if you are single. Yeah. And sometimes, sometimes being single is an option.
I know, but also, you know, it's good to be young, you know.
I remember. Do you remember when we were young, Giovanni? When we used to go out, when we used to go, those places were called what? We used to go to
Florida. F2.
Florida.
F2.
We used to go to Florida. We used to go to this other place.
Mad.
There's a place where they used to play Mugithi.
Reminisce. You know, back in the days. You know, kuna ngoma inaimbwa. Kuna ngoma ilikuwa inaimbwa back then in the 90s. Ilikuwa sema when I was back in the days, ilikuwa inasema inaimbwa when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore, but I wish I was a kid again back in the days. Yani, huyu jamaa alikuwa na reminisce anasema afadhali angekuwa. But let me say this, personally, my own experience. I don't wish to be younger than who I am. I want to tell you the truth from the depth of my heart. I want to keep getting.
Let me tell you the truth. There is an age in my life that I want to go back to.
Which one?
I want to go back to my 30s.
Your 30s?
Yeah.
I don't look forward. I think my childhood, I personally, my childhood was problematic. My youth was not good. My 30s was full of what can I say? Makosa zinatangwa nini?
No, full of
errors and
trouble. You know, you had so many mistakes in your 30s.
Yes, I did a lot of mistakes when I was in my 30s. The truth, let me be frank. I am always looking forward to my to my 4 years. I have no regret in my life. I don't look backward and say that I would wish to be when I was my 20s or my 30s. I am better off today than I was in my 30s. I'm far much better today than I was in my 20s. If I recall my 20s, I just cringe. You understand what I'm saying? You cringe. You pata goose pimples. Bro, you pata goose pimples.
You know, when we were growing up and we were in primary school with Mugo and the rest, you know, in my class, I was in St. Teresa's. In my class, there were Indians, there were Somalis, there were all the tribes in my class, but there were very few Somalis. I remember that one thing we used to share lunch. And Mugo would come
those were the times that Somalis were starting infiltrating Isili.
Let me tell you, there were only 5 families of Somalis in Isili. Only 5.
Yeah.
Only 5. When you
me, I remember when I was in Isili, we had only one neighbor who was Somali.
And the Kisii community, I could tell you, there were in the whole of Isili, there were probably 2 from Kisii.
Kisii.
From Kisii, Kale, two families, and they were known, two families. Majority of those who lived in Isli, majority were Kikuyus. A few, not so many Luos, but Luos were there in number, and Kambas.
Yes.
But we never knew anything called tribe. When you identified me by my tribe, Luo, in class,
Back then.
that would be war. Yeah. We did not know that. And
Yes.
we used to eat lunch from the Kikuyu pot, from the Indian pot, from, that is the way we grew up. Now, how did politics start now dividing us? Here come now the 90s, when there's a lot of political tension and all that. Then we started identifying ourselves with ethnicity, mostly brought by our fathers, because I don't think that you were watching news then. I was not even concentrating on news. News was probably one of the most boring things that I would ever watch, even stand watching KBC News. No, I wouldn't. So what were we doing?
Mutukufu rais, alafu unaletewa picha.
Alafu unaletewa picha, and then your dad would be like, "What nonsense is this? This guy, he would be talking shit about Mtukufu Rais," and that is how we grew up to hate the government of the day. So we followed our father's style of reasoning. Today, Giovanni, your kids will follow what you are saying. When they hear you come here on Africa and condemn the government of the day, they will listen to what you're saying, and they will copy exactly what you are saying in future. Now, there is a dangerous group that is coming, the General Alpha. Forget about what you saw on the Gen Zs. Those ones are just shadow. There is another group that will not reason with you. If you have an alpha in the house, these are the groups that will ask you, "Hey, why are you punishing me?"
True. I have them.
Umenipiga kwa nini? Now, with this education that is coming in Kenya, kicking in CBC, those are the kind of things that they are being taught. Kids should know their rights. You should know your rights. You should know your parents have got boundaries. They should not cross. The fact that they gave birth to you, they can only reach here. They cannot go beyond.
I remember when my daughter once told me, "Daddy unanishautia." I was like, what?
Me, I remember my dad, I could not, when my dad was seated in the sitting room and I opened the door.
You cannot sit there.
You cannot walk
You cannot.
that sitting room to go to the room. You can't. How?
You cannot even crisscross of your view.
Yani, that is a spank. Yani hiyo ni kuchapwa for nothing. Unapigwa pepo, wewe unaenda hata umeshindwa umepigwa juu nini?
My aunties, my aunties, I remember they could not handshake my grandfather. Unaona vile mzazi anakujanga na kusalimia. They could not. Mpaka wakati ule alikufa hawangemsalimia hivi kwa mkono. Angekuwa kwa sitting room, hawangekuja kupita pita ovyo ovyo ama wapite hivi. My aunties. And that, I don't know. Hiyo ilitoka wapi? Was it African?
I think those guys were feared. Yani, you're saying your father is like a gorilla warlord in the house. Yeye ikamekaa tu hapo, ni
I
uniform tu,
remember,
ni uniform ana.
yeah, I remember when my father used to work with KWS. So he used to be moved around a lot.
And the conversation they would have with your mother is instructions. See,
Yes.
conversation. Those are not conversation. Where fanya hii. And those were those conversation.
We watoto wamelala.
Watoto
wamekula.
Wamekula.
Kuna school fees sijalipwa. Sijui nini. Shika hii pesa, enda ulipe school fees. Shika hii, enda ufanye hivi. So I remember my father back then. My father back then was a KWS officer. So warden actually he was ni wale watu walisoma kitambo. Na hiyo ilimsumbua kwa sababu hata afadhali kutosoma. Because he had that ego. I used to tell me, kijana, unajua I can teach your teachers. Niwakalishe pale nianze kuwafunza. So mimi am so literal and my father is telling me that anaweza fundisha walimu wangu. So I used to look down on I used to look down on the teachers. Kwa sababu kama hata babangu anaweza waambia, anaweza wasomesha, wewe kama mwalimu unaweza niambia nini? So I remember back then alienda hivyo, akaenda hivyo, but you remember wao wazee wa kitambo the way they used to believe ndani ya pombe. So pombe akatoka kutoka Mount Kenya, akaenda Mount Elgon, akaenda Nakuru Lake Nakuru, Baringo, blah blah blah. So finally akaresign kwa sababu alijua ako karibu kufutwa, kwa sababu back then walikuwa nalipwa pesa mingi sana, alafu corruption bro haikuanza sasa, ilikuwa back then ilikuwa too much, you know. I think Mwafrika hakuwapatiwa userikali back at your time. Mwafrika he was still not yet ready to lead government. Me, I still hold on that as a truth. So we had to go back. True, we had to go back to Geshagi. That is when I was around. So tulikaa Geshagi until nilipomaliza form 1 na form 2, ndio tukakuja tukaenda Mombasa. And I can remember back then how my father used to be akiniamusha by saa moja. Yeye amelala. Ni holidays. Mimi ananiambia niamuke, niende nikalime. Amelala. That's how those days were. Mimi niamuke, niende nikalime. Nikalimie kahawa, nikalimie nini, niende nichote maji, nifanye nini, nitengeneze, all those kind of things. So wakati unaleta hiyo story yao wazae, I can just reminisce and not in a good way. In a painful way.
I think it molded you in a way. That kind of tyrant father molded you in a certain way. For me, I think growing up,
it was positive.
I didn't have that hardship growing up in when I was young, because I think my dad was a politician and he was a bit well off. So I would say
he was a politician.
Yes. So
he was an MP.
No, not really. He just loved politics. He was just one of those. I would say one of those guys who would make things happen. So growing up, I used to see, you know, when you are in your living room and then you find people like Biwott seated there, people like Saitoti, things like that.
Hey.
Yeah. So me when I was growing up, I grew up in an area called Caledonia. Caledonia is where Uhuru Kenyatta used to drink his. They used to stay across the road. So there was a place for nyama choma there. So he used to come and have his beer there. So as the kind of toys that we played with, let me tell you how life can be so unfortunate. The kind of toys that we would play with over the weekend are motorbikes. Jimmy's dad, Kibaki, we used to go to a place called Nguva. I don't even remember whether he remembers me. And a place called Nguva. Do you know where Nguva is?
I don't know.
So over the weekend, Kibaki would drop Jimmy with his motorbike, blah, blah. Then me, unfortunately, I didn't have a motorbike. So my neighbor, the dad was a colonel in the army. So he was called Colonel. He was a captain or some, I don't know his rank. So they used to have 2 motorbikes. So when it comes on Saturday after school, that's why we are in primary. That's what we used to play with. We go to Nguva, we ride the motorbikes, blah, blah, come back home, things like that. Now, so life was not as difficult as maybe to some families it would be. So it was easy. But now, coming from that life, all that disappeared. Now we had to go back. This is a story that I'll tell you another day. We have 5 minutes. I had to go back and now live in the ghetto.
Why do you have 5 minutes?
Not as we have 5 minutes. The show ends in 2 hours. So, but no, not just by design, because we just have, you want this story to go on.
Let's go on.
So you see, and now after all these episodes and all that, you know, you have lived this kind of life and all these kind of friends, you meet the who is who and all that disappears. And now you having been living in Lavington and in your
you are living in Lavington.
Yeah.
Serious?
By the time you are seeing,
ulikuwa babi.
Aya, mimi nilikuwa babi ile mbaya.
Sasa ulikujaje Isili?
See, that is now, sasa angalia path vile inaenda. Unaona sasa vile yani people don't mistake you. They don't even know who you are. They think that you grew up with them in Isili, wanadhani wewe ni mtu wao wa Isili tu.
Wewe ni mwenzao.
Wewe ni mwenzao. Hawajui vitu zile ushapitia. So that time you are seeing me in Isili.
Yani ulikuwa unaona be what face to face.
You know, when Dr. Karanja won the elections for Mathare, my dad organized for them a bash in our house, a party. He was one of the contestants that they lost the election, so he organized a party for all the contestants. And
now, who now?
Dr. Karanja, everybody who is who in government, kina Makto, kina nani.
Na uko hapo.
Mimi niko hapo, sinaona tent za white zimewekwa hapo, watu wamekam, wamekam kusherekea,
Serious.
So I tell you, wacha nikwambie. So sisi nakupigia story, nakupigia hii ni story ya true life, ndio kwambia life. Wacha nikupigie leo story yangu, yani ile ndio ujue ni mzalendo ni nani. So when I come here, you don't mistake me for anybody else. Sometimes I know what I'm talking about. So see, of course in our compound kulikuwa na, you name it, kama ni Range Rover, Volvo, Peugeot,
Ziko hapo nje.
all those cars zilikuwa hapo.
What?
So when we were just now finishing high school, so me, I used to drive when I was.
You had a privileged childhood.
Yeah, I had some privileges. I had a privilege to drive, and it came by. My dad was so strict; he never knew that I was driving his cars when he was not there. So gari nilikuwa akienda job nachukua gari moja. Me and my friends, we go around the estate looking for, girls, saying hi to them. You know.
You are the guy. You are the in guy.
No, we are the guys. We are the ones rolling now. Tuna roll up. Watu wadogo wana roll na Range Rover.
Boss.
So tunaingia na kuambia siku moja, tumeiba gari, karol, karudi, then coming to my compound, my dad is also coming in. He didn't know that I was driving his car. So mi nimepaki akapark, akanitisha kifunguo bana. So mi nimedhani story imeisha. It was a Friday. Mi nadhani tu story imeisha. The guy came at around past midnight bana, ile kiboko nilichapwa. Nilipatiwa uo ingine sijawahi ona. Then you know what?
How old was you?
I was around I should have been around maybe 13, 12 there, 13.
13 years you were driving?
I started driving a car when I was 10 years old. So,
you are big. Ulikuwa na mwili kubwa lakini.
Nilikuwa mrefu, nilikuwa naweza fika kwa pedals. So lakini unajua tu kudrive, unajua. We could move the car from you could move the car from point A to point B. So real driving inakuja hapo 12, 13, 14 hapo.
Yes.
So baadaye nimepigwa beating mpaka asubuhi. Then asubuhi ananiambia, hey, come here. Ananipatia kifungu ya gari, nikamnunulia gazeti. So
na sasa hiyo maumivu ijaisha, but anataka I think it is the carrot and the stick.
Hey, go to buy a gazette. So that is how we became now. I became his driver, now his official driver. Akienda kuwasha mahali, anapiga simu home, hey, come, niko intercon, kama unichukue.
Anakupiga simu gani? Mulikuwa na landline?
Of course, uko na landline kwa hao bana. Unajua masosi huko tuko na landline kwa nyumba bana.
Hey boss. Hey.
Unapiga simu kwa landline, unapiga, hey, niaje kama unichukue, tushamaliza, niko intercon.
So what happened wakati ule mlikuja Isili? What drove you mpaka Isili kawaleta Isili?
You know politics and everything else, and so hii mali yote ikakuja ikaisha because of politics na nini. Then now we had to humble ourselves. Maisha sasa ikaanza kurudi down. Unajua wewe you met me after my parents had passed on. That is the time you are meeting me. Now hiyo imepata nimesha rudi ushago, tunaishi huko Mahoma Bay huko kwa room kaa moja hivi. Watu wajui hata mmetoka Lavington, mnaishi kwa mtaa ghetto ya huko. So unapoa na unaenda shule. So when I was coming back to Nairobi, so nimekama na hii nasema, hey, you know, all my friends wale tulikuwa nao shule, the ones that we used to hang out with, their parents walikuwa naona, hey, manze mimi, they came later on to confess. Some of them are here in the US. They came to confess kuniambia, hey, manze, Nick, you know what my mother used to say about you? Manze walikuwa nasema, wewe ni mtoi utatuharibu.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, unatuharibu. But you see, for them, unajua watu wajuagi kitu moja ni ukiona people who maybe are favored more than you in society, sometimes you are driving, it is the only thing that you have there. Ni kama wewe na baba yako mko na bike kwa hao, baba yako ni mwalimu na nini, that is the only thing that you know. That bike is what you know, na si ati kujisikia. That is the only mode unaweza tembea nayo, hiyo ndio iko available, that you can go with it to anywhere that you really want. Yeah. So for a while, I think it occurred to me that you are coming back to Nairobi, unataka kuishi ECD, hauna mali ya kuishi. Do you know my first place kuishi ECD ilikuwa ni chini ya stairs.
Oi. So mali ya budako ilienda wapi?
Zote zilizambaratika, zote malone, manini, you could not trust them anymore. That is why there is creating wealth and creating property and riches.
Yeah, I've always told people that.
Wealth and riches.
I've always told people, you create wealth, you don't create properties
and riches.
There's riches and wealth. Yes, you are very right.
Wealth it goes to generation to generation. So easy when you're creating, you create wealth for your siblings, for your family, and their future generation.
Yes,
so hizo ndio vitu unaona kina Ruto kina nani wanafanya sasa. They are creating,
wanatafuta riches.
When they end, it will end like
unakumbuka zote. Ile government itaingia itakuja kunyakua kila kitu.
Unakumbuka the family of the late Ezekiah Oyugi?
Kanae nikukate tu kidogo. If we were to get a progressive leader, like maybe someone who thinks out of the box, like someone like Maraga ama Omtata akuwe president. Do you know mali yote unaona ya Kenyatta itataifishwa almost kwa nusu, kwa sababu hata Wakikuyu they have never been pro Kenyatta. Hata ile sababu unakuta Wakikuyu walipigia Ruto ni kwa sababu Wakikuyu they have always felt like the Kenyattas wamekuwa wakiwanyanyasa, wamekuwa wakitaifisha mali yao, wamekuwa wakiwatumia. Watu kachini wanafikiria it is more about walikuwa nataka Ruto ama walikuwa nataka IEBC. It was also more about hatred there the Kenyatta family. So tukapata leadership kama ya Mtata ama Maraga, someone who knows na ambaye amekuwa in power na ameletwa into power not by any power but by the people. Na that's why ninakwambia mtu anaitwa baba, he will fight it. Mtu anaitwa Gachagua hata yeye mwenyewe atapigana na hiyo kitu, kwa sababu hata yeye mwenyewe anajua ako na mali ambayo Mtata akikuja aiangalie hivi atakatana nayo.
Kweli. So una Giovanni, so vile time zero wanakuta pale Isili. So nimekuja Isili. First I was naishi na a relative maybe who my dad alimpatia job nini, so those kind of people. Then eventually unasikia hapana, huyu jamaa hatuwezi kaa naye hapa. Unapata you're living in a family
unaisaidia kitambo.
Exactly, unapata watu wale uko na side kitambo, unapata jamaa
hata job ile babao ama mama wanafanya budako ndiye alimtafutia.
Exactly.
I know
So
where you're coming from.
you come in this kind of situation, then unapata hata kukula hiyo sapa, and that's all you need. Hauwezi ipata. Unapata by the time umeenda inda kutafuta kibarua, unapata by saa 11 watu washadiishi wakakula kila kitu ishaoshwa. Food tulishakula, kuna food hapa leo. So mazuna relax, unasema hapana, sasa mimi na hii kibarua yangu jo, wacha nifanye hivi, nitafute niongee na ukeateka nipatika place hapa, maybe nikipata place ya kukula kwa kibanda na kula na kuja kula, because kulala seemingly hapa utakika
nikukate tu kidogo. Mi wazazi wangu madhangu alipokufa, ankoli yangu aliponipata Mombasa akaniambia unafaa uende Ocha. So mimi nikamwambia hata nikienda Ocha lazima bado nitabidi nirudi Nairobi ama nikuje huko Mombasa nitafute. I have to look for livelihood. So let me try vile nitaweza ningangane. So I remember back then nikitafuta kwa kukula, nikitafuta kwa kulala, nikitafuta miwambia watu hivi wanaona ni mchezo, but the closest I could get to meet ni motura. Nilikuwa naenda kununua ya shilingi ngapi?
5.
Naenda na ikaanga na nyanya bro. Ile ugali nilikuwa na narua.
Nilikuwa unasema nini? So unaona mimi nyama ni kichwa pale Sili Mirangi tulikuwa tunanunua kichwa, zile kichwa.
Najua Mirangi.
Pale Mirangi, watu wa Mirangi bwana, Mungu awabariki sana, mmetulisha. Na kulikuwa na mama mboga hapo anaitwa Mweni pia tulikuwa na mboga zake pale. So unaona, so hapo kwa hiyo under the stairs I had a safari bed. Hii bed inajifunga hivi pap. So, hapo kwangu ulikuwa unaingia hivi kama umeinama. Ukiingia kama umeinama.
Haina mlango.
Kuna kale kama mlango kadogo, si ni nyumba ya stairs.
Ulikuwa nalipa?
I used to pay 500 bob to the caretaker. So this time my mom is alive, my dad has passed on. So my mom used to come and ananiambia, hey, manze, mama akikama analia, manze turudi home, turudi Ocha. Hii maisha, you can't be here. Mimi rudi kwetu, tuko na hao tuende tukae huko. My mother was a teacher. So mimi namwambia wewe, look at the responsibility you have. Kuna hao my siblings wangu wote, you have to educate them. Mimi wacha ni hustle, unajua.
How many were they?
Around 6.
You had 6 hapo nyuma yako.
Yeah. So mimi nitahustle tu. Anaenda but I thank God. Unaona kwa later on kuna Mganda who used to stay in that plot. Na Mungu akubariki mali huko. So huyu Mganda alikuja kulikuwa na Msomali who used to stay up. So huyu Msomali alikuja akanipatia kibarua pale, na kijana mwingine pia walikuwa naishi kwa main house hapo. Akatupatia kibarua pale ICRC, International Red Cross something. Tunaenda tuna service hizo malori na nini. Na kulikuwa na Mganda pale alikuwa anasema, huyu kijana anaishi hapa, ako na marafiki wengi. Huyu kijana anakaa mwizi. Afukuzwe hapa, unajua?
Muganda sasa.
Mganda bwana, hata si Mkenya. Mganda. Afukuzwe hapa. So naye nikasema kiateka akakuja akaniambia, boss, nikapata jioni kwangu kumefungwa pap. Boss, sasa wewe it's time for you to go.
Inaitwa trouble over trouble.
It's time for you to go. Sasa hizo manze naangalia, ndaenda wapi? Nyumba sina nini, job pia ndio hiyo bado haijaingiana, hakuna kitu yote ina work. Nimefungiwa nyumba, sina mali ya kwenda. So I used to go to people's houses. So naenda kwa best yangu pale California, tunakaa na shemeji ya Mugo wapo hiyo area. Tunakaa hapo Calif, somebody we went with in school. Unasikia saa 5 siku sister zake wanasema manze huyu Nick manze kwa nini aendi home? Sasa wajui mimi sina makao. Aendi home saa 5 bwana. Nataka kutoa niambie manze si ulale tu hapa leo. Sulale tu hapa leo. Na sasa uko Calif. Sulale tu hapa leo manze kesho. Manze. Lakini sasa nimemake sure hapo pia nimekula kasapa. So hata saa hizo saa 5 saa 6 ikifika yao kulala nikitoka, so naangalia hapo Isili kuna mahali gani naenda. Hakuna, naenda Tao, because Tao kulikuwa na maclub za the whole night. So napitia pale Kikosh papa nishafika Tao. Naenda Sabina Joy na kunywa soda. Unajua soda unaikunywa the whole night, because you don't ndio ukilala umeweka ka straw, unakunywa soda na straw, unaikunywa. Asubuhi ile kitu na kuamsha hapo ni
coffee.
No, maji na mwagwa kwa floor. Si floor ina mwagwa bae nataka kuoshwa. Amka mwende. So unamwagiwa maji kwa ndio sisi hao, lakini hapo sasa unaweza osha uso, uchukue ka toothbrush kako kidogo, brush nini, ukae ni kama umetoka home lakini hujatoka home. Uanze kuhustle. Wacha siku moja, to cut the long story short, siku moja nimetoka Isili. Mimi huyo nimepitia ile bridge ya Kenya Poli. It was on a Friday. Nimepitia bridge ya Kenya Poli, kuingia hapo CBK, makarao wakaanza kunifukuza. Giovanni nilifukuzwa na makarao na madogi. Kutoka pale, unaona niko Tao Central Bank pale, nimepitia pale bridge ya Poli, nikaingia hivi. So nimevuka pale, sasa nafukuzwa pale Parliament, nikaingia Koinange Street mbio, bado nafukuzwa na madogi bana. I don't know that time I was athletic, sivuti fegi, sikunyi tei nini. Kwanza nikakimbia nikaingia tunnel ya UN. Unajua pale anniversary tower hiyo tunnel. Nikakimbia manze nikaingia Mamlaka Hall 9. Kuingia Hall 9 nikaenda first floor. Mimi bado nafikiria nafukuzwa. Kwa mentality yangu bado hao jamaa wananifukuza. Nikaingia online nikafungua room fulani, nikapata you know those rooms that in campus they still they are preparing watu waingie uni. Nikafungua nikapata room iko wazi. So hapo nikapata iko na carton ndani. I lived there for close to 8 months.
Hauko serious?
Mimi niko campus, mimi si student na niko campus, mimi si student, niko hapo naishi kwa hizo carton niko na mkasubuhi napiga shower na make sure nimeamka kabla ma students waamke.
Uende shughuli.
Ndio niende shughuli. Siku moja niliamka late. And hapo ndio kuna student tukakutana naye kwa bafu akasema, "Comrades, there's a stranger in the hall." Then that is the time nilibidi nitoke nihame pale kwangu pale campus. then back again to the streets. Now pale Isili, my uncle had a plot. Alikuwa shasikia wind jo, alikuwa na plot. Pale ulikuwa na kam sasa kwangu pale. So ulikuja kwangu Isili. Pale in that one room house pale Isili. Pale nikakuja nikapata, I was paying around 700 kupata hiyo room. Nikapata hiyo room, sasa nikakuwa na at least niko na nyumba na kachoo nje kwa plot.
Ulikuwa na jumba mfalme mbaya.
Sasa you know, every young person kina move
So, ulikuwa how are you earning your money?
Sasa unaona, that is now another story, another layer of story. So unaona kama sisi sasa ndio tulianza hii market ya Ngara auction, tulikuwa nauza mashati. So this is how I used to earn money. So every other day nikiamka nilikuwa naenda Ngara, kuna mother, and God bless them so much, wamesaidia watu wengi sana. Wale wanauza mashati pale Ngara.
Pale chini.
Yeah, pale chini tunapeana ID, unapatiwa manguo. Na trust, pure trust. Trust. Wanakupatia manguo, match t-shirt, match nini, unaenda unauza tao, unahawk tao. So ukienda ukiuza, kama tulikuwa nazichukua na 250 ama 200, unaenda unaziuza na sotano kwa maloya. Sasa wengi wa maloya pale tao sisi tumewangarisha. Wengi maloya. Wengi wa watu wale makru wa mandege nini, Air India, au walikuwa kama customers wangu sana. They used to buy from me, many other lawyers who are my friends up to now. They used to buy from me. So by Friday, uko na kakitu. Na before then, before nipate ako kampenyo ya kwanza hiyo biashara ya nguo, nilikuwa sasa anko yangu moja amenipatia job ya kuuza vitabu hapo railways. Alikuwa anafanya kwa jeshi. So amenipatia job ya kuuza vitabu. So vitabu nauza, but after 2 months akaniambia unajua nini? Na nikamuuliza after 2 months, mazee sijaona mshahara nini? Utanilipa ama sijaona pay. Sijaona pay. Ni jamaa home, sijaona pay na ni tuami. So
2 months.
2 months akanipatia check. Check ya so 7. Na hii check ulikuwa unaenda kuikash Rongai Cooperative Bank ya Rongai.
Hauna account.
Hauna account, wewe utakuwaje na account? Yeye yako na ana hiyo nini, account yake iko huko Rongai. Unapeleka hiyo check inatolewa kwa account yake. So in my head I'm thinking, huyu jamaa amesahau mazi hiyo zero, pengine nikifika kwa bank itaongezwa ikuwe 7k. I have that check today. To date niko nayo mpaka leo. So nikaenda nikapeana check manze. Jamaa kanihesabia 700 na 600 and something because kuna hiyo deduction. Nikamwambia hapana, hii huyu jamaa amesahau. Hii ilikuwa ni kwa 7,000. This 7 is akaniambia check waga ni hivyo. That was my first check. So well, I got to check. So man,
my first check, yeah? My first check ilikuwa 100,000.
Well, my first check in life was 700 shillings.
My first check was 100,000. Nilizunguka na hiyo check. Bro,
my second check in life. Really, my first check. My second check in life, I was given by Raila Odinga. And that was 150,000. That was my second check. That is in life later on. So now nishapata hiyo check ya sosaba, mimi huyo tao naangalia sasa, manze huyu jamaa, wacha ningoje ni confirm tu, I just want to be sure, maybe pale bank wamenienjoy. Jamaa akakuja akaniambia ni aje, hii ndio pesa yako. Was it 700? That's your salary. Oh, okay. Nikasema okay fine. Huyu jamaa 700. Sasa hii 700 ndafanyia nini? What will I do? Au huko isili nalipa so saba. So hii 700 kitu ndafanya, ndapitiaga auction, ndapitiaga Kikosh juu nafanya job railways Kikosh, nachukua mashati asubuhi. Akikuja hii ofisi yake, hata sitashughulika hata kuuza vitabu. Whatever happens, ndakuwa nafunga ofisi na iosha vizuri, yeye anaenda job, lakini at the end of the day nauza mashati zangu, narudi pale. Do you know do you know at the end of the day I started my business ya kuuza mashati na nini, tukaongezea na hiyo ya mashati na makladi tu, tukaongezea na hiyo ya auction na nini. So yeye akikama ananipatia tu ile so saba yangu ya kawaida every month, lakini me at the end of the weekly na make kitu ka 1500 2000 bob every week. Nilikuwa sawa na hiyo pesa. So life it's a long story, a long story to where we are at the moment. So nashukuru Mungu, it's a learning process.
What I was thinking, and allow me to tell you this. Every good thing gives way to a better thing. That's kijana wa Malwa. You may have started this platform with the mindset of talking about politics. But some things which have come to hit in life are those things that matter in the lives of people. And as you told me that we should not be stringent and tumejikaza that the only thing we want is our way or the highway. That's why unakuta Ruto keeps doing one blunder after the other. And even if I don't know, because I don't know plans that God na mipango ya God, even if he comes and happen to become the president of Kenya for another 5 years after 2027, he still keep doing and trying to survive. As of now, Ruto is one of the most frustrated human beings on the planet of the earth. Wife yake hujaimsikia hata akiwa ametembelea, umemsikia mali ako anywhere isipokuwa yeah. So what I think, and if you may allow me, in as much we'll be talking about politics vis-a-vis our lives, but your story kind of bonds with most of us and appeals to most of us and motivates most of us and others in particular ambao wako chini yetu. You have a story, I have a story. If we can be able to turn around Africa 24 to be, and it's all about the product offering. I personally, I'm a businessman. I do business plans, and I do I conceptualize business in as per according to what it entails at every particular given time. And kitu moja tushaongea na wewe kuhusu hii platform. Even back then I was driving towards Giakanja. I was in Nyeri when we started e-platform, and it is good that Mboro is online. We need to conceptualize our content offering, so that in particular it can be able, because everybody is, if you've realized, even when we have a discussion, and even on our platform we are more so talking about politics. It is an emotive issue, but it does not make us grow. It kind of divides us most. Utapata at the end of the day unakuta inavuruga hawa, inavuruga wale, because it's all about politics is selfish, it's self-entitled, but there is something that unites us, and that one thing that unites us is that one thing that that it's about me, my growth, my my struggles. How can I become better? Before I am a community person, I am a family person. Before I am a family person, I am me as a person. So when, like, you're giving your life story, I remember so much about when we were back then, we were doing ABCD and we were young and doing, and back then ndio ulikuwa umeoa, mimi nimeoa, umeka PlayStation pale Doni. You remember?
You know, I'm the first person to start the PlayStation game in Kenya.
Yeah, so yes, so it will appeal.
Long story, eh?
Yeah, it will appeal to minimum, like your story umepeana, if it was spoken and given and narrated in a way that it can be able to motivate and empower the youth, the people like Leo. Na kwa sababu nimerealize that Leo is not a bad guy. He's only that he's not.
My God.
And Gaddafi is just foolish. He needs another 5 to 10 years to realize who he is. Leo is ako on the peripheral ya kuweza kujijua na kujielewa. You know, pia Mboro yako online. Tushaletana na yeye juu hapo mbeleni last year hapa na pale. Nikimwambia kitu ya kwanza kumbukange, his first calling is towards you know, he is a pastor, he is towards the sheep. He is a shepherd. So what I can say is we need to change our narrative, bro. We need to offer the product accordingly, ndio iweze not only kuinua the platform, but even the pioneers ambao walikuwa hapo waweze, because at the end of the day we need to have a gain. Tumetoka mbali, people are watu wana gain a lot katika social media. We shouldn't be any different, and not only to us but also to the members, and even to the following. Due to at the same time also we hit in two stones. We in one stone two birds. Tuweze kuwa tuna outreach and reach those ambao tunahitaji kuinput and to impart. I don't know, but we need to have a serious not just dialogue, thinking, so that unaona kama hiyo story unatoa and ina impact more positively to the society. How do we deliver it? You remember kuna kati tuliongea, I remember nilikuwa na drive kutoka mpaka ukaniuliza ukaniambia si ukimaliza ku drive si you talk to us, nikamwambia hapana, I'm okay. simu iko kwa dashboard, I'll be able to hear you. But we remember that back then ndio tulikuwa tunaanza nikakwambia you remember back then nikakwambia that we need to have an offering, and this offering has to be unique, has to be able to outreach, has to be able to motivate, has to be able to collectively to toil from one, not collectively, meaning not only you, but most of us, and even the viewership, it will from one level to the other. The viewership waweze kupata content, kila mtu akikaa na when we need to specifically, not anybody anaweza kuwa anaingia katika panel ya sharing. Tunakuwa tuko na watu specific ambao wanaingia katika panel ya kuongea, not anybody, kwa sababu kesho atakuwa anaongea vitu zake. We identify people na then we have a theme, we have a purpose, we have a direction. Ndio hata wale watu ambao tunasukumia hiyo product offering wenyewe wanakuwa favored, wanakuwa edified. It's like a pastor. Utarealize kuna pastor ambaye akisimama pale, unakumbuka laiti, kuna mtu tulikuwa najua leo Magangi ndiye anahubiri, na akihubiri unajua leo unaenda ku edified. But kuna wakati pastor pia, Pastor Don anasema no, this today wacha changanye ndio pia hao wengine pia wapate exposure. You remember? So you as the convener una identify people ambao wako na purpose na direction na focus towards the product offering. Within such pia unawaita, we have a forum and we identify. One thing I have come to realize, and I know Boro will bear witness with me, hata yeye wakati ule anasimamanga madhabahu anaanza kuhubiri, haezi amuka tu anaanza kuhubiri, lazima aipangie, aiombe, and then I brainstorm ndio aweze kupata the right product, the right message aweze kupatia waumini wake. If consistently unaweza kupata, and then you need to also to be genuine. You remember like people like Lai, the reason why I'm 100% sure today, ile congregation Lai alikuwa nayo 1 month ago, hiyo sio ile ambayo wako nayo leo, imeongezeka. Kwa watu wamerealize that huyu mtu afuati watu, afuati binadamu, anafuata Mungu. So if we go beyond the rhetoric ya mimi, ukabila na ABCD, ndio even wakati ule ujinga yote inatembea kwa platform, not only I myself ama wewe Nick ama ule mwingine, but unapata almost the panel ambao utakuwa tumechoose, the eminent personnel that wanna push towards that this is the agenda of our platform, because we are not just looking at this time, because I always believe this, brother, kama kitu haina growth, haina haja ushinde ukishindana nayo, wachana nayo. But if kama kuna there is a probability of us growing, not only myself but even with the people that are around me, then that I should put more emphasis and input. So if we can be able to sit down and identify that thing that can be able to push us, and that agenda that can be able to bring much fruit than what was there, I think in my own small 2 cents, we should pursue that. I know there is the politics of popularity. There is that ambao we want to be popular, tunataka kuincorporate huyu, tunataka kuincorporate ule mwingine. But listening to you today, I believe there is a message we can be able to quantify as a platform and be able to send out, which people are willing and ready and are hungering to hear. Yeah.
I think you're right. You are absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Giovanni. You know, when And that's the reason why we have you around. We have people like Mburu. We have got Gypsy Corner in the comment section. I really appreciate your efforts trying to keep this thing afloat. But again, you have got ideas that probably I don't have, and that is why I say, you know, when we come up as a team, we can give Kenyan people the content that they want. I have a certain vision that I want to play and role that I feel that each and every Kenyan should play, especially on the social platform. It is a role that is missing in our society today. We we are certainly sure that we don't have an opposition in Kenya, and we don't have a media in the mainstream media that can agitate without being gagged or without being denied the revenues from government. So they've got limitations. So we on the social platform can take the role of the fourth estate and articulate the issues in the best way possible so that we can have a good country. This country will be good for William Ruto, it will be good for Raila Odinga, and it will be good for their future generation. And that is what we come with. We are not here violently. We are here just to share ideas. And most of the time, Giovanni, if you realize that the ideas that we have shared here, including the positives of shares and the negatives of shares, today the government is reacting to the information. It is changing the CS for share. And it is because of the issues that we raise. It's because of the discussions that we have on the social platform. And it does not only happen on Afrique 24 alone, but Afrique's vision is to one day become one of the platforms that Africa can be proud of. That, you know, if you go to Africa, Uganda, you find another Giovanni having the same agitation for change in Uganda, the same agitation for change in Tanzania, the same agitation all over Africa in the countries that we have in Africa. So that way, then we can have a good continent called Africa, where we have the rule of law and where we have democracy and where the African economy can compete with the rest of the world. So it is a far much bigger dream that started in a small way in our country, Kenya. But I believe with consistency, we will move to where we are. Today, we can say that apart from just being on the social platform, we have created employment for a few who come here every day to analyze and to give them the experience and the exposure of maybe moderating political content. They might not be their very best, but they are in the learning process of doing that. In that event, a media house mainstream can realize, hey, this is somebody who we can employ. So this could be a stepping stone for them, and could be an employment opportunity for many. So we are not only informing, but we are also creating employment opportunity for so many editors, for so many cameramen, and eventually for drivers, and so many other people who will come on board eventually. So it is something that has started, and I believe we have done the baby steps, and we are already being monitored by YouTube, and very soon, if our numbers in subscription increase and we remain authentic in our content and we diversify the way you are saying, it is not, politics does not sell. Politics does not sell.
Let me cut you kiasi. We can punctify, like we say Monday and up to Wednesday we talk politics,
Thursday is lifestyle, Friday is a real life experiences, and maybe like I don't know how we can capture that. And Saturday and ABCD we can talk on like say Saturday is sports, Sunday we it's family. You understand what I'm saying?
That's so interesting. Like you see that like my story, the way I have
yes,
put it.
unaona kama hiyo yako kama vile
if I had
like
put it in if I'd put it from the beginning in a structured way, it is more
yes.
This is part 1, part 2 of this,
yes,
you know.
yes.
Yeah.
And then we identify someone today. He's person ambaye anaenda kuongea about life yake, and then we are going to listen, and then he is going to give his, and then there is a panel of 1, 2, 3. We identify there is a spiritual person like maybe Pastor Mboro, there is Giovanni or whatever. I'm just giving an example. And then tunauliza maswali kuhusu life yake ABCD to the audience. It is inakuwa defined, then that becomes like one day, that becomes like Thursday. Friday tunaanza kuongea kuhusu lifestyle and fashion about
Friday. Exactly.
Yes, Friday about fashion, ABCD, how are we
life, marriage, Saturday, things like that, you know.
Yes. And then on Saturday we talk about sport. It's just about
sports. The weekend now we talk about sports.
Yes. And then on Sunday we talk about family. You know, we just specifically talk about family. How our communities, you know, when we start being structured, even hao watu ambao wanatusikiza wakijua politics ni Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday tunaongea about lifestyle. Everybody tuna identify, tunaambia Giovanni, leo wewe you are going to share. Na una share ukiulizwa maswali. Na by the way hiyo siku ilikuwaje? Everybody utashangaa katika watu wanataka kujua how, kama wewe hiyo story yako. Unajua mimi imenishangaza. I used to think I have a story. Unaona? Then I realized you have a better story.
And you used to think that your story was yako ndio kali. Kuna mwingine pia ako na story, yani
ako na story kubwa. And then pia wewe hujasikiza yangu, utasikiza yangu sikia.
Kumbe Jamali survive aje.
Kumbe Giovanni,
you'll find that somebody is going through what you are going through.
Yes. You know, so Thursday we put it, hiyo ndio siku ya lifestyle ama whatever, tutajua, tutaibrainstorm, break down. And then on Friday tunaongea kuhusu fashion. Tujue kuhusu ni nini western imetuzidi kuliko, unaget. And then we identify someone ambaye atakuwa na lead is specific. All these days we don't want to have someone kutoka Monday mpaka Friday anaongoza, umeget. So I don't know, you as the convener, when you utakuwa na identify whether utawatafuta.
Wewe niambie tu, what we'll start with you. Which one are you best in? Which one are you best in? Yeah.
Tusiende huko.
Sasa nikishakuletea sasa wewe, which one can you
go? Inataka tumesema aje? Tumesema kitu ya kwanza, we are panelists. Mimi wewe wale wengine we are panelists. So tutakuwa tuna identify ule mtu ambao tunataka ku position to that position, ndiye akue anakuwa kama anchor. We will be looking for an anchor, ule ambaye kazi yake ni sisi we are panelists. Uta identify the inaitangwa the elite panelists ambao consistently, maybe they might be 12 but akua interchangeably wanakuwa at every given time. Now it is time to be professional, unaget. From there, whether utatafuta funding, itabidi utafute funding. Whether tutatafuta mobilization, itabidi tutafute mobilization. But this thing lazima tuisukume ifike mahali ambapo inatakikana. And then on Saturday tunatafuta mtu ambaye anaingia tu kazi yake ni sport. That's on a day for sport. Hiyo siku tutakuwa tuna identify ni sport gani tunaiongelelea, whether ni football ama tunaongelelea zote, whichever at every given time. Then on Sunday is family day. Tunaongea kuhusu relationship za families, watoto vis-a-vis mama is role katika nyumba ya familia, baba.
Tunataka kuona madamu wako kwa screen kuja hapa
Yes,
tuambie vile wewe ni gaidi.
Yes, na hiyo siku huyo anka unampatia, unamwambia tunataka kuonekana ABCD, and then we have an audience. When we start, let me tell you something, kitu yote mzuri inaanzanga chini. Na inaanzanga ikiwa tu haieleweki. Biblia husema hivi, right? If you have a vision, andika chini. Though it might tarry, it shall come to pass.
Amen.
So lazima tuandike chini and then tuanze pole pole. 5 years, 2 years, 1 year from today, how it shall be. But pia lazima tuweke mikakati chini. Lazima tukue na wisdom. As wazungu usema, there are no ships in if there were no ships out. Kama hukutuma maships waende, ulitumana mzigo China. Utangojeaje kama kuna mzigo ingie na kuna mzigo ulitumana China?
Unaongojea vitu waziko.
Uwezi ngojea vitu waziko. You know? Haya, Mugo, I was talking to him the other day, nikimwambia hey bro, sijakuona kwa platform ya Nick.
Mugo is very slippery nowadays.
Kaniambia kitu moja. Wanaongelelea vitu ambatani nazo. Unaona hizo politics na kuingiliana na ABCD. And as I told you, there are things you side chat people and you tell them this is a business forum. It's not a personal forum, ya high school. It does not belong to you. It belongs to all of us. You also need to tell them that he also belongs to him. Because mtu asifeel ni kambaye umekuja kumtumia. Unamwambia that hii kitu ikisimama itatogain. You talk to them in a nice. Ukiona mtu umemwongelesha ya kwanza, ya pili, na ana akili ya kutosha, you be firm enough. It's not being forceful, but firmness. And a firm leader, yes. Yes. Na wale watu wanaingia, wanakija watupate tuna mwelekeo na tuna purpose. They'll walk with us accordingly. But wakija tunaanza kuambiana, we kwenda, we ni Mkikuyu, we kwenda huko ni Mjaluo. Hiyo, that, and I told you, a little leaven, that's what Jesus said. It leaveneth the whole bread. Na ule mtu ambaye ameingia tu akipata watu wanaletana na wanatukanana, hivyo ndivyo atagrow. There was a guy ambao pia beleni kabla hii Mgaddafi, kuna mtu pia alikuwa anatukanana na matuku kubwa kubwa. You remember, alikuwa anaitwa nani?
Tulimtoa, I can't remember his name.
I know, as a convener, you should be very strict. You should, because the end game is not me alone, not you. Because pia when you mobilize people, they need to know that the end game hata ni yao wasaidike. When you bring something ambao kila mtu unataka asaidike, acha nitoe jacket kidogo, hiyo sweat ni mob. When you bring a platform where kila mtu ata feel part and parcel, atatoa kila kitu, ata give time yake. But mtu akiangalia aone ni wewe unasaidika kama mwingine, ama ni kelele, ama ni vurugu, and then anainja spirit yako, people will run away. So as the convener, I put it to you, you take time, you need to go to your knees, uombe God akupatie wisdom, akupatie knowledge ya Mimi I'm just there kuongezea kiasi, mwingine ako hapo wa kuongezea kiasi, but you never know. Mipango ya God ni kubwa. Maybe God amekukall you change your people and your society and your country through such kind of platform. Na wacha nikupatie motisha na encourage. Most of those things unapata ziliazanga kama Facebook na zile zingine ziliazanga tu kiufala na kiujinga.
Wacha nikwambie Giovanni, unaona hiyo ICT, do you know how ICT started? ICT started in my living room in Shauri Moyo. ICT hiyo ICT, unaona hiyo ICT. Tunakumbuka ICT, the PlayStation place. Pale Doni. ICT started in my living room in Shauri Moyo. This is how it started. We used to have I used to have a cousin in Germany. I got in touch with him on email and told him, you know, gaming in Germany is really coming up. I want to start something like that in Kenya. Can you send me a PS1? Yeah. So when he came for holiday, he sent me a PS1. So we were playing this PS1 in my house with my kids, yeah? And at the same time, we were making ice cream. Hizi ice cream za bop. Tunajua mimi ni hustlers, tuna make ice cream za bop, watoi wanakam shule, wakitoka nini wanakula, wana nini wanabuy. So my house ilikuwa first floor. Every other time kids would come from school, wanakuja kukula ice kutoka kwangu, wanabuy ice za bop tunaziweka hapo. But in the event, here wanaona game, wakaanza kucheza hii, wakasema, wacha tucheze hiyo game kidogo. Then I started charging them to play the game. So it started with the kids in the plot playing the games. Then their friends came. Then I didn't have a sitting room in my house. It was a gaming center. And that is how ICT was born. So I had to move it from my house to Doni. And that ICT was the first gaming center in Kenya. I can tell you for free. That was the first place where people could play games and all that. And it grew, it gave people employment.
Mpaka sahi kwa mind yangu, it was directly opposite to the mall.
Yeah. So unaona ICT, watu wamepitia ICT, some of them nakutana nao hapa US. Wananiambia ICT, I remember ICT, I remember Paul, I remember who. Ikakuwa ICT, barber shop, nini, ice, so everything, ice creams and all that kind of stuff. So
but you know, the reason why you are able to achieve all that, you had an awesome partner. Your wife was an awesome woman. I used to watch you. Allow me to say this.
Yes.
I used to watch you and how you were so agreeable between the two of you. And back then I used to look at my marriage the way it was, yani everybody to himself, yani vurugu vurumai, yani nikimwambia hivi ananiangalia, yani ni kushindana, yani tulikuwa tunashindana right, left and center. And the reason why you were able to achieve all that is because you had an understanding partner. You had someone who, no wonder it took you too long. Ulioa ama bado?
No wonder it took me too long to do what?
Even to find someone else. Did you oa ama bado?
Do you know it's a long story. Yani tujai kutana tena?
Tulikutana mazishi ya Madhake Mogo. But back then bado you are non-committal.
Let me tell you, the story that you bring in, it's so nostalgic. You just said it all. When you have a partner that that understands you, that you can do things together in a way without kufurugana. Unaona vile unasema yako, yani ulikuwa na furugana, yani you cannot come to an understanding that hii kitu nafaa kufanya hivi. There is always a competition. Unanielewa?
Yes.
Yeah, you're always competing with your partner in terms of ideas. You can never agree on very, very simple things. You can't agree. Things that you see are very, very simple. Some women find them very, very complex to their understanding. But until you have this kind of partner is when you will realize that enyewe marriage iko na challenges zake. But I'm glad you used to admire my relationship then. Huko unaniambia.
Hapana, unajua uwezi ongea unaweza jamaa anaweza fikiria unatamani bibi yake.
Unfortunately,
you know, you were still young back then, uwezi ongea mingi.
No, unajua unajua tulipatana when we were very young, and whatever we did, we built it together. Unaona, the foundation.
You know, we married very young in our 20s.
In our 20s tulikuwa tushaoa.
And it is not okay.
Why
it
did
is
you
not.
say it is not okay?
It's stupid.
No, it's not. It was if
trust me.
I tell you, I remember.
Bro, hakuna mali unaenda kuharvest watoi. There is no harvesting of children. There is absolute, yes. For a man, you need to have time to grow. You need to know what you are having. You need to understand. Kama sahi naangalianga wife yangu, you remember I told you I remarried. And I can tell you, naangalianga vile all the years nimejaribu kumseti, kumtengenezea, kumshughulikia, kufanya, yani najinyima. Pombe nikikunywa naenda kutafuta pombe, naenda kukunyia kwa nyumba, utanipata sijui naenda kwa mavilabu, maybe nata pombe na ikunywa maybe once in a blue moon. Back then I was niko kwa church, but ile vurugu na vurumai na kesi na mavitina ziko kwa nyumba, they were much more kuliko hata ule mtu ambaye yeye ni mulevi kwa ba. I'm telling you.
You know, I used to see, kitambo nilikuwa naona my friends wananiambia, hey manze, wife analetea shida, yani unajua. Yani napata best yangu anaongea peke yake, akitembea anaongea peke yake. Hii story, nini unaongea peke yako ukienda? Unaenda wapi ukiongea peke yako? Anaongea peke yake mpaka anapiga signs, anaongea, ananiambia Nick manze, hii kitu haiwako. Ni kubaya huku home. Manze haikukaliki. But let me tell you, you can be very lucky to have a partner that you are really compatible with. That can be a gift from God. That upate tu mse, yani munaelewana karibu kila kitu, yani munaingiana. But mi huwaga pia nasema, sometimes you might be struggling so hard to make somebody be what you want them to be, but they are not meant for you, you know, or they don't know. Yeah, you know, unajaribu kumake mtu, ni aje hizi vitu fanywa hivi, ama you are trying, ama yeye pia anajaribu kumake vile anataka wewe ukue, and then you don't come to an agreement. So that is where things go haywire. But just like Gypsy Corner is saying on the other side, is that a marriage is a mutual contract. Yeah, it's a mutual contract between two people. Unaona kama hapa US watoi they grow wakijua daddy na mami wanaweza wachana anytime. They know that what is important in a relationship is love. So that is what is fundamental. So mtu mkikosana na nini, mnafaa kuwa either mnarudiana ama mnaachana. So in our African culture, that is not there. So in Africa culture, kama hata mnakosana mnakangangana tu. Gypsy Corner, who is this? Gypsy Corner is asking about who is Honey. Who is Honey? I don't know who he. Oh, he bring Honey one day on the screen, Mzalendo. Honey is who? Honey ni nani? No, that maybe she's talking about somebody who's different. Honey ni nani? So really good feelings.
So bro, think about those things tumeweza kuongea moja mbili tatu.
No, I think it's late even in Kenya right now. We can continue. No, this kind of conversation, we have done another hour talking about the things that are so important to people and the family. So we will dig in we will side chat and see the best way forward. Tukiendelea mbele na hii Africa, but we want to at least one day we be one big family called the Africa family, together with people like Gypsy Corner.
Nitakuta side chat tuweze kuongea personally, tuweze kujua to brainstorm.
All right. Nimeshukuru sana Giovanni and the guys who have been watching Africa on the comment section and on other media platforms like Mtembei, asanteni sana. If you have not subscribed to Africa and you want to support this particular channel, please do so. Go to Africa YouTube page and subscribe. It is Africa24. I'll share the link down there so that at least you can be able to subscribe to our channel. Otherwise, it has been a good conversation with you guys, and I hope that you enjoyed part of the political discussion and again, the life stories that we shared between me, Giovanni, Gypsy Corner. Gypsy Corner, we hope that you will one day come on board and tell us your story. I know you have got an amazing story to tell. Gypsy Corner has been one of the main sponsors of Africa24, and we really appreciate Gypsy Corner on the other end. Amekuwa akimaintain hapo na subscription yake. We appreciate each and everyone who has participated in this discussion this evening. We are always here. We are always here for you. We will always be there. Today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, you'll see Giovanni, myself, so many other people, Mburu, Kimanzi, and the people who bring for you these stories, political, family, and the way you are seeing things are going to grow bigger here on Africa. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching Africa, and we hope that we will be here on Friday with our lovely program. Otherwise, good night and have a lovely morning if you are in Kenya. Thank you.
Join us every Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. for a captivating journey into the world of love, relationships, and romance. Presented by the dynamic trio Maggie Knox, MC Jesse, and Annie Waweru, Bed of Roses. Promises to be your weekly dose of heartwarming stories, insightful discussions, and expert advice on matters of the heart. Whether you're single, in a relationship, or simply love a good love story, this is the show for you. Don't miss out on the chance to unwind and indulge in the joys and challenges of love, all brought to you by our talented hosts. Tune into Africa24 every Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. and let us guide you through the enchanting world of Bed of Roses. Subscribe now and mark